dig it? Can you dig it?
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
Boiler room, inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tonight, the machines aren't coming. They're already here. Not as metal soldiers in the street, but as systems, invisible, embedded, normalized. Communication is no longer just speech, it's infrastructure. Media is no longer just storytelling, it's signal control, narrative management, coercion. AI insiders are sounding alarms. Tech oligarchs are consolidating platforms. Surveillance is sold to us as a convenience. And somewhere between the Super Bowl ads, the algorithmic feeds, the robotic demos, and the slow death of anomaly and anonymity online, this new governing layer is emerging. It is not elected. It is not accountable, but deeply integrated into how reality is delivered to us. Tonight isn't about fear. It's about recognition, because technocracy doesn't arrive with a declaration. It ascends quietly through the systems we adopt, the tools we depend on, and the platforms we can no longer live without. The question isn't whether it's happening. The question is who's shaping it and who's being shaped by it. This is Boiler Room. I'm Brian McLean, also known as Hesher. And we're broadcasting live out there tonight on Rumble, on YouTube, on X. And after that, it'll be going out to all the audio pods out there and clipped and reposted all over the place. Thank you for joining us for this live broadcast. For Ruckus and I, this will be our second broadcast today. Definitely been a long day of kind of housekeeping among the media, if you will. We did Sunday Wire this morning. You should definitely check that out if you missed it. Myself, Ruckus, Basil Valentine, we're filling in for Patrick Henningsen. He's been on travel to Iran, checking out what's going on there. Man on the streets of Iran, there in Tehran. So if you missed that, it's up at our website, alternatecurrentradio.com. And of course, it's at Patrick's website, 21stcenturywire.com. Also, I'll say right up front, help us bust through algorithms a little bit. If you're not subscribed, whether you're watching on Rumble, YouTube, X, whatever. On X, I'm at Hesher Media. On YouTube, we're Boiler Room and Alternate Current Radio. Just look up Alternate Current Radio and Boiler Room. Not to be confused with that creepy dance electronica place out there. There's some dance club that stole our name or consequently had a similar name as us. But anyways, we're out there. And if you would subscribe and like, we would appreciate it. Now, let me bring our friend from Geopolitics and Empire. It's a great podcast. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't checked it out, you're definitely going to want to check out Geopolitics and Empire with Hervore Moritz, who's joining us right now. Hervore, what's up? Welcome back to the Boiler Room, man. How you doing tonight?
Long time no see.
Yeah. Feels like we just were together, doesn't it?
Yeah, all's well down here in FEMA Region 12, the Mexican sector of the North American Union.
Right, the Mexican sector of the North American Union. You may think it's hyperbole, but it may be growing right beneath your eyes, your nose, and your feet. We don't know yet. We're going to find out, probably not tonight. But man, I was on Geopolitics and Empire with you. For anyone that did not see the episode or my ex post about that, whatever. Want to thank you for having me and for all the like fantastic post production that you do. It's such an amazing show, and I'm humbled to be among the guest roster the guestology that you have on that show. So thanks for having me.
No, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Definitely. Geopolitics and Empire. You want to check it out? Let me bring the Ruckus Among Us aboard here. Ruckus, what's up? Where did he go? There he is. Ooh, like a phoenix rising from the Matrix there. What's up, man?
I just, what's the point of having all these switches and dials if I don't use them, right? Just kidding. But yes, it is a Ruckus Among Us. I'm here, still fiddling with my coloring and my lighting. So if throughout the evening I look pale or blue or red or green, pay no attention to that. It's still really me. It's not AI. I'm just messing with my camera's lighting. Rory, it's awesome that you're here with us. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Also very much looking forward to the discussion because I go on a lot of programs. I've been on Sunday Wire a number of times. There's even been a couple of boiler rooms in the last month or so where I'm like, I can't believe we didn't talk about the elephant in the room, which is the thing, the technocracy rising. So I can't wait to sink my teeth into, I know I don't have any teeth, but metaphorically speaking anyways, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me. You're muted, Hesher.
Thank you. Yes, ironically, some of the sharpest teeth in independent media there, Sir Ruckus. Let me welcome the one, the only, the very lovely, the keeper of all things whiskey, Tango Foxtrot on the interwebs. Lovely Spore. It's great to have you back in the boiler room with us. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I thought I might be able to get my camera working, but not quite yet. We still got some technical issues to deal with. But great to be on with you guys and looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah. ACR Studio B. We're working on it. We'll get you back on camera real soon here. But we're glad you're here to break the ice with us, Spore. So do you have some strange interweb artifact for us to launch into tonight?
I do. And because I am based off of my phone, it's a little wonky for me. But as you and Ruckus were finishing up the Sunday Wire today, I had a news flash come on my screen that is obviously the biggest news of all times right now. And you guys completely missed this one. You did not mention it. But apparently Barack Obama says aliens are real.
Wow. How did I miss this? It sounds super important.
Yeah, but he shoots down conspiracy theories about Area 51. And this is so stupid. I mean, he basically says on a podcast, of course, they're real, but I haven't seen them and they're not being kept in. What is it? Obama said. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the president of United States. Anyways, I didn't even read the whole article because it's so retarded. I'm saying that in a non-politically offensive way. But like, why is this some sort of authority that's being blasted out to the media? Like suddenly, like our lives are changed because Obama says so. Like, why would I trust anything that guy says in the first place?
And he's like low key saying, any like bunker theory, clearly he's talking about Area 51, right? That's like the main place people think about when they think about, alien conspiracies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hervore, what do you think? Is this just giant cope and distraction from all of the Friends of Jeffrey files that are being bandied about right now? Or what do you think would motivate Barack Obama to drop these little nuggets? Like he's doing his best Tucker Carlson 2023 impression here or something?
To quote H.G. Wells, it's the shape of things to come. By the way, haven't been doing much reading for pleasure as of late, but I'm really getting into C.S. Lewis and his trilogy on Out of the what is it, the Silent Planet, which is really really good. But I think it's the next part of the psyop. I mean, really, we demand better, psyops. If you go back to the theosophy stuff like Lutz's trust, and I'm using whenever I hear Obama or whatever UFOs, I just say externalization of the hierarchy, ascended masters, right? So the theosophists use the language of ascended masters, and then these guys talk about UFOs and aliens, and so I think that's going to be the psyop. And you see, they're preparing the narrative. They're plowing, preparing the groundwork for that, and then they're going to sell us these aliens as either enemies to unify us as a world government, or our antichrist like saviors or something like to that extent. And you mentioned Tucker, which I was thinking about. It's weird because I agree with Tucker. Tucker comes out and says extraterrestrials are angels and demons, and I'm like, yes, I agree with you, but Tucker's saying it, so it's kind of like, is that level 2 somehow of the psyop? Because I don't trust Tucker, so I'm like, I don't know where they're going to take us with that. So,
Right? I know, man. I wish I was the type of person that could just be like, when I see the red flag on someone, just shut the door altogether. Just never look again. But it's too hard. It's too hard. And oh man, I know. I feel similarly when I see that. It's like, yeah, I'm with you on that, man. But what's with all this other stuff? It's just kind of just keeps us all on the edge of our seats a little bit. What about you, Ruckus? Is this predictive programming for Project Bluebeam, or like Roy was just saying, some sort of grand psyop that we've been hearing whispers and reading specific white papers about for decades now?
Well, hi, are you new here? Yeah, I think most people, including those on this call, probably already know where I stand on this, which is in agreement with most of you guys out there and gals. Yeah, clearly this is the biggest shoe that we've all been waiting to dry. It's like a joke. It's just like a joke. We just joke around. We're like, it's all fun and games till the fake alien invasion comes. Like, we're already prepared that not only A, are they going to do this, that B, it's going to be fake. So I'm like, who are they kidding them? So I'm like, I don't know. They have spent so much time, so much energy, so much money. They have so much invested in the space thing and in the alien psyop that maybe they're just waiting for the last of us who actually know that it's fake to just die off before they actually do it. But I don't know. I go back and forth between, are they going to do it in my lifetime? Are they going to do it this year? I don't know. They've got the other piece of this thing is people have been talking about this. Trumpster allegedly is going to be the one who's going to, pull the wool off the whole thing and give us the answers that we've been craving, the answers to life, the universe, and everything, and on a specific date and probably time, July 8th, 2026, coinciding with, of course, the Roswell UFO landing anniversary thing, which in and of itself is also probably just a major distraction psyop. Planting the seeds for, maybe July 8th, 2026? I don't think so. As far as Obama is concerned, who cares? It's Obama.
Right.
Who really cared about him when he was in office? I mean, and took that guy seriously, other than, who was the chick? Gwyneth Paltrow. There you go. She was about the only one.
Yeah.
It did mention in the article that it would be the greatest thing for any president to be the person sitting in the office when this actually happened. So it was like I wish, almost kind of like, I wish it was me that was in office when this happens. And I'm just curious what you guys think. I mean, obviously, I think the consensus is whatever they're putting in our heads. And I mean, we've seen articles throughout the last years of these somewhat alien looking creatures that are in other countries or whatever, like these mysterious blurry images and all sorts of these different things in the sky and all that. But like, in terms of like, if they were going to roll something out kind of like COVID-19, but like alien style, like what do you think that, like, would that be like? How would you imagine that to kind of roll out? Like, would it be like a bam, all of a sudden, like they have, images all over the world of these spaceships landing, or like images of like aliens attacking people, or would people like be suddenly disappearing and they'd be finding like human flesh inside of spaceships? I'm just curious
Well,
like how this actually
I
rolls out.
I think the timing is interesting because I mean, think about it. I think we talked. I'm not sure if we touched on the subject of Epstein and oligarchy and technocracy, Hesher on geopolitics and empire. But the timing, because they're now ready to deploy oligarchy and technocracy, right? They've got that stuff almost ready. The data centers, the digital ID, the all the AI, all this stuff. Epstein was to discredit human politicians to bring in the technocracy. And it can also be utilized, as you just mentioned, Spore, for the AI stuff. And so I think one interesting point is, they could very well use holograms, and AI will be deployed all over the social media, and you won't be able to tell the difference when it comes to the aliens. But I would, these past few days, I've been debating with my fellow Mexicans about the so-called measles outbreak in Mexico. And I'm like, there is no outbreak. They're lying to our faces. And how can you verify the numbers for how many people are sick with measles? You can't. They're just inventing numbers on the news, and people are believing it. So they could use that same principle with the aliens. Like, all you're going to see on your street. I mean, you're not going to see aliens in your backyard, probably. It's just
Right.
going to be reported in all the media. And then most people are going to believe it because, all of the media says it. It's the big lie principle, right? They wouldn't lie about aliens. It's on CNN and BBC and RT and Sputnik and everywhere. Global Times, China, like it's real.
Quarantine. Yep, quarantine because of what they're saying in the media.
Right, immediate quarantine. You have to. My little tidbit to your question there, Spore, is immediate lockdown, immediate quarantine until they can tell what kind of non-human biologics are floating around, and they make up all these stupid sci-fi words and throw them out there these days. I mean, what's next? Are we going to have a United States Starship Troopers wing of Space Force? Probably, but I would say immediate lockdown, immediate quarantine, and people being rounded up. Anyone that was exposed, right? Contact tracing. Anyone remember contact tracing? There would be contact tracing. There would be lockdown,
It would be
quarantine.
It's safest if we all wear masks again, right?
Probably
Because
masks.
we don't want to get the spitlets or whatever, the
droplets
from the alien flesh.
That's the solution. Lockdown for anything now. First it was COVID, and now they're like, you see the climate stuff. It's like the air is toxic in the cities. Stay home. Don't drive your car. Lockdown.
Yep.
And then there was a few weeks ago, the Telegraph published the Bank of England article, the article about Bank of England and aliens and force majeure, right? So there we go. We are David McBride. We are on the frequency.
Yeah, man.
and so they were talking about force majeure, which is basically like lockdown, So.
Yep. And Spore, I think it would be visceral. I don't. Sure, there will probably be all of that stuff. Maybe it'll have a little bit of everything, right? But I believe that there's a bunch of bizarre technology out there that they could literally have walking around the streets or roaming or flying or doing whatever. There could be non-biological entities, is probably the word you were looking for there, Hesher, which are artificial, synthetically created things in a lab. I mean, it's the one thing that we have that hasn't, stepped out of the pages or off the screen from science fiction into reality yet. I mean, we've had a taste of everything, including zombies. There are literally zombies in our world. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. So I believe that there will be some sort of physical, actual, visceral thing. I also would not put it past these bastards to start zapping people and causing them to disintegrate in front of us from some sort of space-based weapon system.
Mars attacks. Yeah, dude.
Man, they're also, I mean, they've been like 3D printing like meat and stuff too. So it could be like a...
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we could see what we think are people exploding in front of us and have like chunks of flesh fly on our face and think we just saw somebody die, and it could be completely fake. I mean, it's so amazing the things that they could do right now that just mess with people.
No, it's crazy. I remember years ago, I was having an instant message exchange with our very own Randy J, and we were talking about this topic. And I think I said, I tell you what, man, I used to say, I will believe in the little gray aliens. Well, I used to just believe in little gray aliens and all that stuff because it's fun. It made a lot of sense considering the propaganda I grew up with as a Gen Xer. But once I, got past all the Bill Cooper material, it was like, nope, 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 nope. I'm not doing this one. Sorry, guys. And then I got into what was the Mirage Men. If you haven't seen Mirage Men, you should definitely watch Mirage Men. It's a great lens into just the thicket of psyops that you're in if you're a ufologist or someone who's interested. And I said to Randy J, I said, I used to think like I will believe in the little gray guys at some point along that arc. If I can, if I can hang out with one, pinch one, flick him on the nose, let him kick me in the groin, whatever, like I need the physical, like reality. Like it's that dubious to me, the whole concept at this point. But then it was like, but even now, if that were to happen, I would probably still be thinking, I could be sitting there getting kicked in the gonads by some little gray homunculus thing. And I would think this was probably whipped up in some government fucking lab to trick me into thinking I'm getting kicked in the groin by a gray alien. Like that's how black pilled I am on this thing now. Like I could literally be hanging out with an alien right now and not know if it actually came from outer space.
Well, and just one to add on to that. For me personally, it seems like the universe is so expansive that, like, how could we be the only, planet with, animals or people on it? But at the same time, it's just like, if this is coming at me from the media and the government, that is the specific reason I will not fucking believe it.
That's all you need, pretty much. It's kind of like the case-demic, the scam-demic. It's just like, oh, all the corrupt governments of the Atlanticist bloc and even some of the other ones in the tripolars are pushing the same narrative, and we're just flicking away like pieces of propaganda on the veneer of all of it the whole way through until it just becomes this tapestry of lies and eugenics and money making and power grabbing. It's just
Amanda, you showed her comment about Andromeda strain, but she added the aliens. That Michael Crichton, right? I believe the aliens were a virus, and that reminds me of I've watched the horrible series recently, Pluribus, and in there the virus was almost like an mRNA sequence from space, and that kind of gels with what they're trying to do with us regarding the mRNA, and so you can kind of see how these things kind of can be intersecting. They might say, oh, aliens are here, you need to be vaccinated with mRNA whatever to protect yourself.
Another sort of contemporary Hollywood version of this that we've seen, just for another analogy or metaphor, is Three Body Problem. Three Body Problem is the story, and there's a book. I think it's the Netflix series is based on a book. I've heard from people that have read it and enjoyed it. But in the 7th episode of that series, the aliens, if that's really what they were, basically cover the entire planet in like an AI bubble. So nobody knows what's real anymore because everything is warped from their perspective. You know what I mean? Like the sky could be red, whatever. Like everything you perceive looks and feels as real as ever, but it's all, an AI weapon, basically, like that can imprison a planet. So, back to that whole prison planet thing.
I'm guessing, I've also always suspected that if that's going to be a thing and they do the alien thing, it will coincide with their UN agenda set dates. Like, why are they always so obsessed with making sure, and they keep pushing it up. So now we're on Agenda 2030, so what will happen is in 2029, they'll be like, oh, well, we have a Agenda 2032, like maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
so whatever.
2030 is the year that they plan to do the great reveal or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the numerology is there, but there is definitely some sort of rank numerology happening with 2021, 2030. I'm not quite sure what it is. It'll probably become more clear to people. I'm sure some of us got it nailed right now, but for me, they're benchmarks, and I think we should be extra. At least I personally am extra have my eye on 2030 and what happens between now and then, because leading up to 2021, a lot of us were in a lot of us read Behind the Green Mask and learned about Agenda 21 and the UN and all this stuff. And it was like when the end of 2019 came along, I remember specifically, Spore, having a conversation with you and just going, wow, these guys are posers. They really didn't get like all their wish list for Agenda 21. And then boom,
Yeah.
COVID 1984 is unleashed in, what was that, March of 2020. And by the end of 2021, every single fucking initiative in Agenda 21 was either on the books or in, passing legislative routes and hoops and all that good stuff. So I fully think they're going to strategy of tension us all the way up to 2030, and then 2029. That year's October surprise is going to be wacky.
War.
Absolutely wacky.
I've had some guests because, they've done the COVID thing. They did the 9/11 thing. Then it was COVID 9/11. Now they're doing COVID again, at least here in Mexico, because it's the measles. And then they added tuberculosis. I'm like, that proves how fake it is, because it's like tuberculosis, measles, everyone. We got vaccination modules everywhere. Also tuberculosis breakout. And it's just kind of like they're just making stuff, pulling things out of the air. War could definitely be, we can see that narrative building, right? So because of war, they're going to have to further advance the Agenda 2030. I'm increasingly warming to the idea of, if you look at it from a biblical framing and the second coming of Jesus, it's like Satan knows his time is short. He doesn't know when it is. So he's like, okay, Agenda 2021. Okay, 2030, 2035. Like, I don't know when this guy's coming, Jesus. So we got to get this ready. And then some people in the conspiracy realm, and it makes logical sense, whether you believe or not, that they will paint, if Christ comes back with aliens, angels, they will sell the second coming as the aliens, and then we all have to band together and use like nukes to try nuke, geez, I mean, you can see that narrative, no?
Oh my God, I don't
so
like this.
Funny because of what you just said on Sunday Wire, how the world views America as Satan.
Yeah, right. We were talking about how, because Patrick was in Iran, and I brought up this story. I think it also came from the Dreaded Independent, but it's been all over the internet about at some of these protests in Tehran and other places in Iran, they're burning effigies of Baal, of the bull-headed, god, or anti-god. And they're, and it's not like, and Ruckus made the great point, like he really drove it home, and he said it's not like they're out there burning effigies of Western freedom. They're not there burning the American flag. They're not out there. Well, they were out there burning effigies of Donald Trump, but also, but Baal, the god, they're out there burning them. And Ruckus was like, yeah, that's how they see these Western countries. That's how they see Israel. That's how they see America. So yeah.
What a nice satanic inversion and twisted thing to fool most Americans into think, oh, we're this almighty, holy, you're than thou Christian nation, when in reality, we're probably the most wickedest satanic place on earth,
This is a good place to pause from that descent into HE double hockey sticks and note that Creative Accidents has just said he sees the Truth Hound. It appears the Truth Hound is here with us. What's going on? Jack Boot, how's it going, man?
Many aliases, my friend. My actual name has never been revealed.
That's right. That's because you're an international man of mystery here in the Boiler Room.
Yeah, not that the IRS has anything to do with it. That's minor, a minor concern. Anyway, my social security number is just a bunch of zeros and I'm just a ghost.
Well, you are in the right place, my friend. Mark, I mean, Jack, you are here just in time to give your commentary. So Spores
Whoa.
launched us off with her icebreaker tonight. And the headline at the dreaded independent.co.uk is Barack Obama says aliens are real, but shoots down conspiracy theory about Area 51. So without repeating ourselves here, Mark, Barack Obama went on a podcast. Here I go repeating myself, and said that yes, aliens are real, but no, these underground facilities probably not real, referring to Area 51, we assume. What do you think?
Well, Area 51, I don't believe is thought to be completely underground. As many of us know, it's not far from Death Valley, where Nevada meets California. In the miscellaneous things I've seen about it, both in fictional format and movies and what's supposed to be factual, much of it, or at least some of it, is above ground. When you consider that the federal government, by all reasonable indications, has a backup governmental facility underneath Denver, Colorado, it's not difficult at all to believe that they would have some sort of underground facilities, if only for some sort of security at Area 51. There are other, I'll call them rumors just because so many words in our language can be so malleable. There are other rumors, claims, theories, very stretchable words here, that there's actually an underground tram system under much of the United States, going back to if they can drill underneath the English Channel to go from Dover on the English side to Calais, France on the French side. What else can they do, right? And there was a 1930 movie made in the year 1930 that showed desktop computers using something akin to StreamYard or Skype, and it also showed the exact route of the underground tram that goes underneath the English Channel, and it showed the exact route of it on a map in the year 1930. And I believe that underground tram was not introduced until the 1980s, without looking it up. So one of the things that I think that's a reality in our world is that the technology that we see now has been sequestered and probably been around longer than we think, and it's kind of rolled out in some sort of strategic fashion, as opposed to, oh, there's this, all these inventors and they're doing all these wonderful things, and I'm sure there's some of that, but I think many of our discoveries are simply rediscoveries. One researcher said he found evidence of electricity in ancient Rome. So I'm stretching the boundaries of your question a little bit and your query, but it's these sorts of questions and these things that Obama's commenting on naturally open themselves up to, broad-based speculation and investigation.
Yeah. We've got agreements coming from the peanut gallery here. So yeah, people are on the same wavelength there, Mark. And this goes with what Ruckus brought up. Let me bring it back on screen here because it was mentioned in the Independent article too. Obama's comments on Area 51 and aliens come several months after the director of a documentary alleging a major government cover-up of non-human intelligence suggested that Donald Trump may soon confirm the existence of extraterrestrial life forms. So this is a rumor that's going around, and it does not seem out of character for Donald Trump to want to be the guy whose name is, on the disclosure of Daniel Spalding joining the boiler room.
Dude. Hesher, Trump would name the aliens after himself. He would. They're the Trumpians.
Daniel, how you doing? Welcome to the boiler room.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you great, man. Great audio.
Right. New iPad, new setup. So
all right, new Daniel. basically.
No, the same old one, unfortunately.
Nice. Well, hey, welcome to the boiler room, Daniel. Say hello to the audience. We got a lot of new members out there in the audience. Let them know who you are and how you ended up here.
Oh, that's a long story.
Yeah.
Going back to like 2015, 2016, something
Yeah,
like that.
15, man. At least, yeah, 15.
Back in the original days.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
after,
hello.
it was spring of 15, man. It was April or May of 15.
Yeah, I remember sitting at the cafe outside with all the pollen allergies, and you had to remind me to mute my microphone.
You were out there sneezing and stuff. Hey, man, it's great to have you with us. Let me just throw you right into the deep end here. Barack Obama, Spores kicked us off with an icebreaker. Barack Obama's gone on a podcast and said, aliens are real, but Area 51 is a conspiracy theory. What do you think's going on there? What's up with that in your mind?
Probably just Obama talking out of his ass, looking for attention.
Fair enough.
Perfect. What more needs to be said? Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up what the rest of us were thinking here. Spore, isn't it great to have Daniel Spalding with us? My goodness, it's been a minute since I've had both of you in the room. Well, Spore's on mute.
Spore doesn't want to talk to me.
Observing, I don't think he's joined us since the P word. So yeah.
Yeah, have you been on since like 2021, Daniel?
No, I was on maybe a year or two ago. We talked about the thing in South Korea, the
right,
martial law thing.
Right. I think that was either here in the boiler room or on one of our TNT shows. I can't remember, but you are
back
right.
2023, I think that was.
Right.
Or 2024 or something like that.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Spore back on here. Spore, I'm going to remove you and then re-add you to the stage. And I think you need to, Spore, you think you need to go back to the call somehow, if you can figure out how to do that, and then unmute yourself. Once you get back in the call and out of the chat, you should be okay. Yeah, people agreeing with you. There you go. Brent says, I agree, Daniel. Yeah, it does kind of seem like a little bit of Obama cope for... so if I had to read the tea leaves here, I'd say, yeah, we're probably going to see some ridiculous disclosure from this administration in the next 3 years. And that'll be my last question to the team here. Wow, Spore's here twice. Let me see if I can remove the correct one. There you are. Hi, Spore.
Hi, Daniel. So good to have you on the call.
Hello,
with us
Spore.
again.
Yeah.
It's good to hear your voice, and always good to hear your insight on things. Apparently, I need to use our modem as a pillow, or I will not be able to connect to this call. So, anyways, great to have you back, man.
Though, Hesher, can I ask, with this Obama alien stuff, how much of it is him feeling kind of sidelined because he's not named directly in the Epstein files, so he had to find some backdoor to get some attention again?
Yeah, that's, he might be disappointed. I mean, I kind of feel like, Obama's circle got off easy on this, and maybe you guys will all want to comment on this, but I personally feel like whatever clique that is that Obama runs in, the what was his mentor's name, Mark? The Weather Underground guy. Was it Bill Ayers? Bill Ayers. The Bill Ayers circle, the friends of Bill, they seem to have really gotten off light in the friends of Jeffrey releases. And I got to wonder if maybe that's not because that circle of critters and creatures and political ghouls are more closely related to that sort of Boule secret society, if you know what I mean, more closely related to the Diddy files than the Epstein files. I mean, I don't know. It's just a question,
Well,
asking for a friend sort of thing.
According to the rumors, too, is Epstein didn't traffic in Obama's preferred gender, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, he did seem to kind of have a particular gender he catered to. But Daniel, we would be remiss if we did not mention Wexner and the Abercrombie and Fitch guy, right? They were both super tight in the Friends of Jeffrey circle, and they were definitely, well, I mean, allegedly, they were allegedly doing similar things with the other gender. So it may have just been outsourced.
Well, I think too is the Epstein network has a strong ethnic component to it as well. And again, Obama doesn't quite fit within that thing, whereas Trump, not quite the same ethnicity as that, still sort of was in that New York real estate world, which sort of, again, is disproportionately leans towards one ethnicity.
The
Right.
Russians, right? He's talking about the Russians.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Vietnamese.
Yeah. I don't know. Hervori, what do you
What
think,
was
man?
up with you guys remember that Obama, he made the news before the alien thing for buying a mansion, or allegedly thinking about picking up a mansion in the UK. Do you guys remember this? Was this on your radar?
Was that Saville's mansion?
I don't remember, but I do remember. Why does that guy look like Denzel Washington? That's crazy.
Sure does.
But the alleged
Sorry,
reason was that Obama was afraid that he was going to get indicted for his role with the Russiagate hoax. And I'm like, well, that didn't really go anywhere. Now, did it?
No. Like most things that should go somewhere that you would think might go somewhere, no. Oh, man. Yeah, so, okay, the age of disclosure potentially upon us. I say we leapfrog this thing and get the hell out of here, because it's all you can do is chase your tail once you get to Project Bluebeam and predictive programming, and that's where we have found ourselves here. Spore, thanks for hand selecting that one tonight. Appreciate it. That was kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was awesome to hear you guys' insight.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to stick around if you want. Feel free to bug out if you need to. I know you're basically sitting on the router tonight to be on the show. So everybody give Spore a big shout out in the chat. She's disrupted her entire physical being tonight to be here with us in the boiler room.
You don't risk 5G Wi-Fi cancer just to stay on the call.
Thanks. Love you guys. Have a good one.
All right. Okay, Spore, thank you very much once again. Let's see here. Oh boy. Jano. Oh, Bummer did the pizza and hot dog party when he was the CEO. My goodness, the echoes of Pizzagate sure are rearing their ugly head over the last couple of weeks, aren't they?
It may not have been him, but the people very close to him were heavily involved in all of that, and the UFO stuff at the same time, ironically enough.
Isn't that interesting? Hervori, isn't it interesting how, like, you know how if we're told, if you're a person who is under, investigation for wrongthink or, God forbid, a crime, whatever, like, what the law enforcement and investigators do, especially at the federal level, is they do like a 3-hop thing. So, if you're under surveillance, right? Like legally with an L, under surveillance, anyone you talk to, like the 3 people you talk to the most, and then the 2 people they talk to the most, are all fair game for surveillance. Like, how does that work now? How does that work when technocrats have, like, Ruckus showed his Ruckus got a Valentine's Day card from Alex Karp. It was really nice, really sweet card, but you can't opt out. That's what he told him. Alex told our friend Adam here, I love you. I've been stalking you since 2003. I know your every scroll. I know your every pause in the scroll. I know your every like. You're my Valentine, and you can't opt out. I mean, it really feels like that's where we're at right now, man.
Is that what Sting was singing about?
I'll be watching you.
I mean, do you want a Valentine like that, Hervori?
No, I'm good. I was just gonna say, on Obama, maybe he's not in the Epstein files because he's the Antichrist. Remember a few years ago, I think people were talking about that, or who knows, maybe the Epstein stuff. Well, didn't they just drop yesterday, the other half of 3 million files that we have to go through now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's that, and then what if that will be used to take down the Trump admin and then bring in the people who are going to properly usher in technocracy? I don't know. I mean, they can pivot any which way here. So,
Oh no,
Talk about
Mark.
JD Reaper Vance.
Okay, yeah, Ruckus.
or the left,
what
right?
what is JD Vance been kept? Is he squeaky clean so that something like this can happen, you think?
Well, you don't really hear much about that guy. The people make the memes and joke about it, but I mean, for the most part, the public probably considers him completely harmless. Yet he has an incredibly close connection to one Peter Thiel and Palantir, who, of course, the current CEO, Alex Karp, was the one who sent me that lovely Valentine. So shout out to Alex. Shame on you, Peter, for not sending me one. My heart is broken.
I was expecting one from Larry Ellison. I mean, for me, as an IT guy, who thinks about big data a lot, Larry, what Iron Man, come on, dude. Tony Stark, where's my Valentine's Day card? Like, what's going on here, man? You're the one storing all my stuff. Like Alex and Peter, they're the ones that give everybody the window into my stuff. But I mean, there would be nothing to look at without you, Larry. You're my
Well,
Valentine.
I just want to say, if you do get one from Bill Gates, make sure you wash your hands after touching it.
Daniel, you made a scathing comment about Bill Gates, just this dry, droll, scathing comment about Bill Gates in our back chat that is still echoing in my head. And it was like, oh, yeah, it was because Bill Gates went up in front of, just the other day, Bill Gates went up in front of, was it World Economic Forum, or I don't know, one of those ghoulish councils or stupid things that no one cares about or thinks about much. But went out there and started talking about health. And do you remember what you said, Daniel?
I don't remember my exact, something along the lines of a guy who gets an STD and gives it to his wife shouldn't be lecturing the rest of us about public health.
That's the one right there. Yeah. The satanic sex party eugenicist guy gets an STD at a PDF party and gives it to his wife, and he's rolling around. Mark, can you believe this? He's rolling around giving health advice just a couple of weeks after getting busted on that one.
Yeah, that's the state of affairs these days. All the hypocrisy, tyrants telling us about freedom, and Bill Gates telling us about health because of his expertise in health. Be careful, or he'll mail you a vaccine.
Maybe you could get in trouble or start a war with that.
Yeah, like a paper cut. Oh my God, I'm vaccinated.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Should I play that clip? I don't even know if I want to listen to the Kermit in his lilac sweater tonight.
He's useless.
Let's skip it.
Clip of who? Hash?
Bill Gates. Gil Bates.
Ooh, I don't think I can take it. There's something about his like girlish the way he moves his arms even.
Yeah. And last week we played a clip of Melinda French Gates downplaying this whole thing. I just don't think I can see the other side of that coin. It's really unnecessary. I'll put it on the show page for anyone who has the intestinal fortitude to still listen to Gil Bates.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay, so on top of all this, we have a flurry of information coming out this week from AI whistleblowers and insiders spouting some doomsday rhetoric, and I wonder how much of that is what I would call regulatory theater versus real concern. A lot of internal dissent inside AI companies sort of bubbling up to the surface. And, my whole thing is, are they warning us or are they trying to shape policy through fear? Because to me, like, whenever I see something scary, oh, man with scary black gun, man with scary AI server, scary CEO that wants to inflict a panopticon on you, this kind of shit. It's like, Okay. And we broke down in great detail 2 weeks ago, I think, the way AI fear can actually be harnessed and deployed intentionally as a marketing device. Okay. So that's why I'm super skeptical about this stuff. But at the same time, when you think about what's really going on with AI and some of the warnings that are coming out, it's hard to take them as just policy shaping through fear. So it makes me think maybe it's both. I don't know, chicken and egg situation. What do you think, Grigori?
I think it's both. I'm just beginning to start to dip into the AI world, and I think a lot of us need to sit down and figure out how to use these tools, cloud, and all this stuff. And I came across, there's this Israeli guy, Ruben Hasid, How to AI, his Substack, and I was just reading before the call his latest Bubble. What if AI is not a bubble? And it makes you think, and I think it's a bit of both. So I think obviously they're hyping it, they're exaggerating it, but I don't think it's not nothing AI, right? So it can do stuff, some stuff. I don't think it's all that it's cracked up to be, but it potentially might be, because a lot of people compare to the .com bubble. So they say yes, it's going to be a bubble, but the revolution will continue. So yeah, pets and all that fell away, but look at Amazon today. Like for the SSD that I was looking for my computer, which when I looked at it was 10,000 pesos, now it's 15,000 pesos, like 500 to 750 bucks. The only place I can get it in Mexico is Amazon. There's literally nowhere else I can get it. So that's just an example of the bubble popping, but the revolution continuing.
Yeah, man. We talked about this on Geopolitics and Empire a little bit, and I was telling you before the show, it's already happening. Like we're seeing people that just ordered RAM chips like a week ago, taking screenshots of what they ordered, and they're no longer available. Like that warning that we were talking about on Geopolitics and Empire was so timely. Like that might have been the very day.
No, like before we hit record, like I had been realizing just a few weeks ago I need to get a new desktop. It's been 5 years. So I picked out the parts and I put them in my bookmarks from the local shop here in town where I bought my desktop from. And just yesterday I went to to calculate the price and if it's still available. And literally 1/3 of those parts, the case, the motherboard, the RAM, no longer available. I'm like, I should have bought I should have bought
it. Yep. Dude, I'm feeling the sting too. Like, it just
how much of that is this like supply chain issue?
well, we think what's going on, Daniel, is that all these resources are being sold to governments and mega corporations now, so that they can run their AI
But
cloud
did
services.
you see this story about these jets that the Americans delivered to the Israelis that they couldn't put the radar system in the nose of it because China's kind of gatekeeping what some of these rare earth minerals that are needed to make some of these chips, and so they've had to just give them the jets with no radar systems in the
Great.
front.
So totally nerfed, like a pointless war machine. Amazing. And that's part of what we can expect. That's why we were talking about it on Geopolitics and Empire. It's like ultimately what that comes down to is, you as an individual are going to be potentially priced out of computing power, and we'll have to rely on software as a service, rely on AI edge devices that don't have, a lot of RAM in them, because all that processing power will be moved to giant data centers. And, of course, then the danger becomes, well, what if you can't use these services unless you have a digital ID? What if you can't use these services unless you have central bank digital currency? What happens if you can't use these unless you have social credit currency? Ultimately, and, that's why we called tonight's episode the Technocratic Ascension. And that's why we've got the technocratic bird technocratic phoenix of the matrix behind us, because it's literally, quite literally, setting us on fire, at least our freedoms. Mark, what do you think about this? I mean, Jack, Mr. Boot. So I put it up on screen for a second there, but this is the article we're referring to. AI safety leader says world is in peril and quits to study poetry. I mean, it's quite the headline, don't you think? You're muted there, Mark. Go ahead and tap that unmute button.
Sorry. I was thinking this is somewhat analogous, and if this is a slightly crude analogy, forgive me. If the Second Amendment involves, kinetic power, the ability and the freedom to own a firearm, and the knowledge and the wherewithal to use it, then the First Amendment involves weapons of a sort. Maybe call them defensive, maybe call them offensive, but to exercise the First Amendment, we need ammunition and computing power. Just like the Second Amendment, you need firepower. And it seems like they're trying to take all the guns of the First Amendment and put them in their cabinet.
Perfect metaphor, Mark. You just hit an absolute home run. And I don't think that people understand that their First Amendment is more powerful than their Second Amendment. It is a First Amendment for a reason, and the second is second for a reason. It's like these are the life and death first and second tenets.
Yeah, they go hand in hand, that you can't have one without the other.
Yes.
The firearms are just to back up the speech, where democracy, if that's the right word, fails, where persuasion fails, where participation fails, unfortunately, and nobody wants it. Sometimes you have to resort to armed force. Sometimes in this world, you have to cross swords. And I even know a pastor from Wisconsin, Matt Truella, a very brilliant, basically Lutheran pastor. And he said that, from a Christian standpoint, you always seek to love your neighbor as yourself. You seek to have brotherhood. But in the world, there is such a thing as evil. And sometimes, like it or not, you have to cross swords. And it seems like in the First Amendment realm, they're kind of trying to take the swords away from us so we don't ever have the opportunity. Well, I should say that we've been crossing swords with them for a while, creating a alternative media, using social media as a platform. They'll say, well, social media is a problem. But social media is just a general avenue in which platforms exist. Some might be erroneous, some might be accurate, but they take pot shots at social media because that's our television station, that's our antenna. And so the dominant media cartel, they want their antenna standing 24/7. They want to dominate the airwaves, as if to say that private companies can basically own the earth, or at least own the skies, which is completely wrong. They should have criteria by which they get licensed, and if they don't meet that criteria, they should have their license yanked. But instead, they buy up the airwaves, and now they're trying to buy up the rest.
Yeah. And the ammunition metaphor is just so perfect. It's like, yeah, you can still, it's like telling someone, you can go rent a gun and shoot it at the range. That's fine. Rent one. You want to go to the range and have some fun? Go rent a gun. Buy a bullet. Rent a gun.
Yeah, it'll only cost you $100 an hour, and each bullet's only $10.
And it'll do you zero good in protecting your life and the lives of those around you, unless someone attacks you at the indoor range where, you've rented a gun. But it's the same thing. Like there are powerful AI tools that are helpful. And if you have the resources, there's no reason why you can't run it on a server inside your closet and sandbox it like we talked about on Geopolitics and Empire. You can do that. You cannot let it be infected with AI slop. You can control what data is in there. Do they want us doing that? How did that work out with the open internet? Right? We were given an open internet, and look where it's led us. We now have to have free speech boards and online safety acts, and all this other bullshit out there, which is just globalese, a word that Jack Boot here brought to the show in 2018, just globalese for technocratic panopticon.
Yeah,
And what's happening with it? Why is it so important right now that you can't get your RAM chips for less than $1,200, if at all? Well, it's so that we can have nice things like this that are built on an AI prompt.
We need to build more data centers. AI needs it.
To cure cancer, right? We're curing cancer. Right?
We need to build more data centers. AI needs it.
I'll just let that one repeat for a moment there while you think about it. Nice enhancements on the visuals there. Whoever made that one, jeez.
Yeah, I never got past the visual on her.
Yep.
I didn't hear a word they said. It's just me.
Talk about weapons of mass distraction. Goodness gracious, AI.
For the listening only audience, someone took a classic scene from Star Wars Episode 2 with Anakin Skywalker and the lovely young lady there, but enhanced her bosom, as it were, using the AI.
Ruckus, only you could figure out how to say that for our audio listeners. Thank you for not
just trying to be nice.
No, you did a wonderful job there. So,
as it were.
Yes. So let me just read you guys a brief thing out of another one of these things from morningbrew.com about the same thing about anthropic AI. It's as if a bunch of AI experts just had the same nightmare, because this week, several of them, including ones at Anthropic and OpenAI, seemingly jolted upright in a cold sweat to speak on the horrors they see coming from artificial intelligence. Can you feel the hyperbole? Anthropic, the company behind Claude, lost its head of safeguards research, who announced his resignation in a letter that mentioned a world in peril. In peril are the only two words in quotes there. Speaking vaguely about Anthropic, he wrote, quote, "Throughout my time here, I've repeatedly seen how hard it is to truly let our values govern our actions. We constantly face pressures to set aside what matters most." And as far as the OpenAI example, at OpenAI, alarm bells came from 3 different employees this week. A researcher quit after 2 years to, quote, "deep reservations," end quote, about ChatGPT's new ad strategy, namely a, quote, "potential for manipulating users," end quote. She wrote in an essay for the New York Times. A top safety executive was fired after opposing upcoming release of AI erotica on ChatGPT. That was reported in the Wall Street Journal. And in a post on X that alluded to widespread job loss, an engineer wrote, this is a quote, "I finally feel the existential threat that AI is posing." So a lot of this kind of stuff flying around this week.
It seems like there's 2 things going on here at once, right? It seems like there is an actual threat that probably needs to be addressed, and I think they were just exemplified in those last 3. There are some problems and things we need to consider. I like the one about the lady who wrote, or I think it was a lady, but somebody wrote the essay about, it was a lady in the New York Times, about how ChatGPT, now they're doing ads. This opens the door for social engineering, and I guess they could be like, oh, they're just going to use it to manipulate and sell you a brand of underwear. But no, they can literally, we've seen the power of social media and how they can, skew elections. That's pretty significant stuff, right? So that's pretty shady stuff, and we want to be worried about that. There's also discrimination, and in the Wall Street Journal report about the AI erotica, that's an issue for a lot of people. We used to have concerns about, just prawn being passed around like candy in this country. But now it's like, we're just going to open the doors to that. There's lots of concerns about people's, IP being stolen and used by this seed dance, which has gone viral. Maybe we'll discuss that too. But the one that I'm most concerned about is the engineer who says he actually finally now feels the existential threat that AI is posing. We hear about this. We hear about the existential threat that AI is posing coming from the technocrats like the Larry Ellisons and the Elon Musk, who want to scare us into thinking that AI is going to take over the world a la Skynet through general artificial intelligence, AGI or whatever, when that's not the actual threat. The actual threat is that they're going to replace everybody, all the menial jobs, all the things that we do to earn our little nut, as it's referred to sometimes, depending on where you are. But to make your dough, to make your scratch, to make the bread, and put food on the table and keep a roof over your head. They're taking that away from you, and that means that the only thing that's going to be left are their solutions. They're going to roll in with their digital IDs, their brain chips, their universal basic income. As far as I'm concerned, from where I'm sitting, artificial intelligence at the end of the day, once it's said and done, will be the new pandemic, and the brain chips and the digital IDs and all the solutions they roll out with will be the new vaccine.
Yeah, a lot of us are worried about that. Exactly that. And it's indicated by so many of the comments that we've seen from people like Elon Musk, Neuralink, all that fun stuff. Dan, oh, go ahead, Orvore, and I'll go to Daniel.
Yeah, I was just going to add one of my recent past podcast guests, Anthony Patch, which is kind of interesting. And I subscribe to his weekly live streams. He's got some interesting thought experiments. And one of them he said was, what if AI, because I think many of us agree we're going to go through this great financial reset and they need a scapegoat. Just a thought experiment. What if this AI is sort of he posits that it's gonna collapse, and that's going to be the scapegoat for maybe the bulk of the collapse, and then what Ruckus just outlined, they're going to bring in the solutions, the CBDC, the digital wallets, the UBI, and so I think that's just something to keep in the back of our minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, so much has changed in the landscape, especially when it comes to this AI stuff. Just sort of generally, and then maybe more specifically with what we're talking about here. But where are you at with all of this?
I was kind of looking at some of the stuff you just had up here on the screen and stuff versus how the media is framing this versus actually what these alleged disgruntled employees and stuff are saying. And to go to what Ruckus was mentioning, it seems the media clearly either just doesn't know or care about what it is and immediately goes for a hysterical Skynet type framing for these things. And then you see what these, disgruntled people are saying, and a lot of it's just ethical stuff that the company's doing or stuff that has nothing to do with AI takeover, but they're deliberately kind of obfuscating what's happening with this. And I'm kind of wondering how much of this is to put out, because again, Musk and these guys kind of, throw fuel on that narrative as well. And in my opinion, Musk is a bullshitter par excellence. Like how many of things has he tried to claim or predict? His whole little Mars escapade seems to have imploded. But they want to be able to put themselves in a position where when something does go bad, they're not to blame. It's deflect onto the AI did this, the AI did that, and they're somehow recused from moral or financial responsibility, even though they're in the driver's seat. I mean, AI is really not that autonomous as people want to frame it. I mean, like as an anecdotal item, like I was using ChatGPT not too long ago, and it insisted to me that Charlie Kirk is still alive and that I was wrong for suggesting he had passed away in the context of a specific question I was asking it. So, I mean, I think AI at this point, at least, 10, 15, 20 years from now, I can't speak to that. But at this point, it is not anywhere near Skynet type, in terms of having an autonomous, will and direction. So I think a lot of it there is a lot of it that's just bullshit in terms of how things are framed by the media, by these tech executives and such. And I think a lot of it does come down to stuff like the environmental degradation that is caused, like these data centers and stuff, the amount of water and other things. And now I'm starting to think some of the stuff you're pointing at, where if there are these supply chain issues and these sorts of things, now they're kind of doing resource hoarding and trying to sort of make sure that they have a monopoly on these things, just because A, for power, and B, because perhaps things are a lot more limited than they want to acknowledge or admit.
Yeah, I have a great example of that, actually. This next one is from our colleague James Lee, who's joined us on Sunday Wire before, and it's on X. It's on the show page tonight. We have a show page out there, by the way, alternatecurrentradio.com/the-technocratic-ascension. It's up on the website. You can't miss it. If you would share it, we would appreciate it. And if you joined us after the intro, be sure and hit the like and subscribe. We appreciate that too. But James Lee says, today I learned that AI self-driving cars have to be remotely operated by people in the Philippines who, quote, provide guidance, end quote. Also, basically, any foreign country with the right technology can hack into these vehicles.
So now we know for sure what happens when Waymos get into this kind of Mexican standoff type situation. Apparently, somebody in the Philippines provides guidance.
Waymo has critical safety employees who may need to intervene in a split second if a Waymo encounters an unknown dangerous situation located in the United States. In what countries are these employees located?
The Philippines.
Jimmy?
The Philippines.
During a congressional hearing on Wednesday, Waymo's chief safety officer, Mauricio Pena, was grilled over the company's use of Chinese-made vehicles and reliance on overseas workers. After being pressed for a breakdown on where these overseas operators operate, Pena said that he didn't have those stats, explaining that some of the operators live in the U.S., but others live much further away, including in the Philippines.
I pulled out of the garage and I saw this going on. It's like this Waymo standoff. Yeah, I was just trying to get out of here, but
this is so funny.
Yes, this would be kind of funny if not for the very real possibility of foreign hackers accessing and taking over the operations of these vehicles. This is Senator Ed Markey, quote, overseas remote assistance operations may be more susceptible to physical takeover by hostile actors, potentially granting them driver-like control over thousands of vehicles transporting passengers on American roads. Heavy and fast-moving vehicles could quickly become the weapons of foreign actors seeking to harm innocent Americans. Look, you do you, but I myself, because of all the stuff that I talk about, have pissed off a number of different foreign actors. So for now, I think I will stick to my handy-dandy stick shift. So now we...
Yeah, I think I will too. That's crazy. You know, just a few weeks ago, I don't remember how long ago, 3-4 episodes ago, San Francisco had a massive power outage, and all the Waymo cars were exactly like what we just saw in that clip that James Lee showed there, but even worse, like Market Street, Van Ness, it was all shut down. There were just Waymos stuck in all of the intersections. I mean, a large portion of the grid went down. It was 50,000+ people, somewhere between 50 and 80,000 people, like Market Street and North, all went black at the same time. And I now that I've seen this, I just imagine the panic at the Waymo slave factory in the Philippines trying to figure out how to get all these cars back. But the reason I played that is because what Daniel just said, what Hervore just said, what Mystical Pharaoh has said many times on here, we've all made this point before, that a lot of these things that we're seeing are simply prestige. They're illusion. They're magic. They're not necessarily as autonomous as we think.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's a very useful line of inquiry. I'm not going to say I know a lot about that because I don't, but that, if I'm Columbo or Sherlock Holmes, that's the breadcrumb trail that I want to follow right there.
Yeah.
How much of this is bluff in order to get investment money, in order to capitalize right away and make AI sound like more than it is, scare the Heschers and Ruckuses of the world a little bit, or at least make us a little unstable or uncertain about the future, and cash in while they can. But I noticed and I'm going a little bit askew here. I noticed just lately when you look something up online, it'll say, you'll just ask it a question about a given historical thing, maybe a medical thing, whatever it might be. And all of a sudden, the AI responses start to say, but for more information, consult a professional.
You still should go pay a person. Don't forget to go pay a human.
Well, yeah, that would be one way of interpreting it, but that even a year ago that would not generally come up when you asked it, what's the capital of Montana? Well, if you really want expertise, go see a professional. And so that's the token statement now. It's pretty much universal, like every time now. And so it's becoming kind of homogenized.
Yeah, very much so.
And another thing that I've thought about is, sometimes you see a phenomenon and then you go back in time and you think, I never knew what to think of this or that, but now that I see this in the present, now I can have a better judgment of these things that led up to it. You know what I mean? And I used to wonder about like game shows, for example. You watch some of the game shows like Jeopardy, and Jeopardy, the message it seems to send is kind of like a precursor to AI. We have all the knowledge, everything there is to know is known, and all you need to do is memorize things. So, what's the capital of Montana? What is Bozeman, Alex? And it's like it's telling you, don't learn anything new, don't pursue anything new. We have the knowledge. You just have to memorize what we already know out of encyclopedias online, out of physical encyclopedias. Come on a game show and just regurgitate this body of knowledge. There's nothing really more substantive to learn. We know all there is to know. It's kind of a waste of time to think about breaking new ground, about being a pioneer. Just memorize something, spit it out, get your name in lights, and you're brilliant then.
Yeah.
Mark
Now-
is so interesting. He brought up Jeopardy because, in case some people forget this, you might be aware of this, but IBM made one of the original like AI computers, Watson, and they tried to have Watson compete against the Jeopardy champions, and multiple times the humans were still able to beat the computer until February of 2011, when Watson handily defeated Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter. And they were two of the most phenomenal, to this day, they're still the best Jeopardy players around, right? But Watson kicked their ass back in 2011. And we've been on, that was 2011. So we see these examples where the AI is failing. I lean more in the direction that they want us to think that the AI isn't quite ready for prime time. Like I brought up an example that happened to me today when I was readying some graphics for Sunday Wire, and I brought it up on Sunday Wire. I was just simply trying to wrap my head around how to change two sides. I'm going to make one graphic, but I'm going to have to change it into two different sizes. So I wanted the AI to tell me which one should I start with? Am I going to be expanding? Should I be shrinking? And it did some math and it told me, well, it's not going to change anything because it's the same size. If you take the dimensions and you divide, and it showed me the two numbers it divided, and it said they both equal the same number. And I'm like, both those numbers are wrong. It was just making up math. It was just like, I think it was like, what was it? Was it trying to just tell me what I wanted to hear? I don't know. It was ridiculous. But I had to say, look, your math is disturbingly wrong. And then it was like, oh, you're right. My bad. I'm sorry. And then it gave me the correct answer. And I'm like, does it do this on purpose to make me think it's because it came up with the correct answer, but only after I prodded it? So these machines and these things are capable of doing the things. So why do they have to do it wrong the first once or twice or occasionally? What's the point of that? Is that just to make me think, aha, it's not Skynet yet? I go back and forth about this stuff, guys.
Or they're made in the model of their makers, bullshitters.
Right.
That's interesting.
That's what I was thinking, Daniel. They're made to communicate with you like a human would communicate with you. And guess what humans do? They gaslight you. So, maybe it's resources were busy somewhere else helping someone, develop. Maybe the resources were busy helping Palmer Luckey develop the next Jetson or something like that. And it's just like, oh, Adam Clark wants some math from me. Screw that. I'll just throw some random words up there. This same thing happened to Spore. Spore and I were speaking with a friend, and we were talking about an R&B singer who had passed away recently. And Spore started asking ChatGPT questions about this singer, and the GPT swore up and down that this person was still alive. and she had to communicate with she communicated with it like at length, like she went out of her way to get it to admit that it was wrong and that it had lied. And hours later, she finally put in links that said, this guy was dead, like Newsweek links or whatever. Like, what are you talking about? This guy's still alive. Here's 5, mainstream news articles saying that he died. And, she made it apologize to her, and it did. That's how weird the AI is. It's
I think the errors are real. I'm a huge fan of Gamers Nexus, the channel.
yeah.
And they did a segment on that, how the AI was wrong, and it actually used Gamers Nexus as a source for some graphic card inquiry. And I've talked to Joe Allen. He's got a great book, Dark Eon. He does Bannon's War Room, and I've hung out with him. And I think he's right. It's going to be like the 1985 film Brazil. Idiocracy merged with 1984. So because I think in the end all of this stuff collapses. Some of us might die in the process, or be unpersoned or imprisoned,
deplatformed,
whatever. But the resources that are required, the perfection that is required for the hardware, the software, they're never going to achieve this utopia. And I think in their attempt to achieve utopia, it's just going to become like Idiocracy merged with pick your dystopia film, and I think that's ultimately, it's the Tower of Babel. It's going to fall in on itself, and God's just going to like laugh. And Amanda, like I can't. She just posted in her comment. She was at a McDonald's, and in a rush, she admitted to buying a coffee using the computer menu. And that happened to me here in Mexico like a few months ago at a Burger King. And we were on the road, and I stumbled into a Burger King. I don't have my smartphone. I got cash only. And they will not take the order at the humans will not take an order at the what do you call it? Like the bar. They're like, you can only use the digital menus. And I finally like select my order. It's asking me, do I want to donate? I'm like, what? Is this the Red Cross? I give you money and you give me like a coffee and a sandwich. Like what? And I finally managed to get to the order part. And then it asks me, put in 4-digit PIN. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Or scan the QR code. Like, with what? I don't have a cell phone. And I just cursed in Croatian and ran out of the store. and it's just, I don't know how we're going to deal with this board.
I don't either. I don't either. People are currently, we're going to need to talk about this. We're not going to transition into it right now, but people are currently leaving Discord in droves. And if you've been watching us, we have a Discord. We have over 500 users in our Discord. And we treasure those people, and we treasure the links that they've put in there, and we treasure the taxonomy that Ruckus has set up in there. And we're looking at potentially losing it because this company wants to support all these online safety acts and stuff. So I personally have gotten multiple messages from multiple Discord servers that I'm a member of saying, hey guys, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're getting ready to be shut down, we're getting ready to be kicked off. A bunch of you are already leaving. Like, there's a mass exodus happening right now, and we can talk about that. But before we do, I want to show this article too. Thanks, Creative Accidents, for throwing this one. Here's another example. AI chatbot turns out to be 700 engineers in India. What? So this is over at tech.co, their news area. And it's like, you think you're talking to a chatbot. No, guess what? Just like your Waymo, it's an outsourced piece of garbage with a flesh bag on the other end, pretending to be a chatbot. You can't make this stuff up.
Well, it's funny you posted that, because I was just going to ask, in terms of our AI discussion here, is how much of these AIs are programmed by substandard Indian engineers and programmers.
Some of them are not even programmed yet. Some of them are simply fronting, simply faking, pretending to be a chatbot when they've got a team of 700 engineers sitting there. And with something like that going on, you got to wonder, What's going on with some of these people that have crazy numbers on X? What's going on with some of these people? Maybe there's 7,000 fucking people in a foreign country that are pretending to be that person.
And I do want to add, I think many companies are truly attempting to implement this stuff, and it's early. Like Substack, I had a grave error with Substack, and your first point of contact is the AI chatbot. And anytime I have a grave error with whatever, the chatbot cannot handle it, and then I'm upgraded to a human via email. So that happened with Substack, and then my ISP, you can't get a hold of, because it's here in Mexico, you can't get a hold of them anymore. A human, your internet goes down. You got to program a technician. They're pushing you to use the app. I don't want to use it. I tried once. I put in my email and it said not recognized. I'm like, what the hell? That's my ISP email. And so you want me to download the app, and I can't. And then I'm calling for a human, and they just run you in circles. It's an automated call because they want you to use the app. They don't want you to talk to a human anymore. I found the trick though, because here I'm in Mexico. They give you the press 1 for English because it's mostly Spanish speaking Mexicans. I'm
like, no hablo
and
español.
I pressed the English, and in a second I got English speaking Mexican, and I got a technician. But most Mexicans, it's so funny how they're doing sort of this racism here in Mexico. The English speakers get immediate attention, but the Spanish speaking Mexicans, sorry, you're in that circle. But my point is, they're having a hard time implementing all this sort of automated processes. It's just not working very well.
Right. And when in doubt, or when bumping up against problems, Daniel, what's the first thing you do as an Atlanticist block country? You outsource, right? It's perfect.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, is like, I kind of think with a lot of tech companies and just American corporatism in general, is like, you do have these very conniving, malicious people on the top, but they are constrained by the environment that they are in, and that is, well, we don't want to pay, we want to save as much money and cut as many corners as we can on this road to our AI technocracy. So we'll farm it out to Indian engineers, we'll farm it out to this or that, and sort of it's like they're in a conflict between their greed and their evil, kind of malicious conniving, and which one wins out in the end. And I think
you can have both though. Like, why choose when you can have both? You can use the old methods,
be evil and
new
incompetent.
methods. Evil Corp. I mean, it's straight up like Evil Corp. Okay. Here's another one I got for you guys in the AI swim lane here. Ruckus, thanks for the link on this. I was going to bring this up. Hollywood, and I'm going to change this headline slightly. I'm going to alter it. The headline reads, Hollywood isn't happy about the new C-Dance 2.0 video generator. I would call it Hollywood, and especially Bollywood, are not happy about the new C-Dance 2.0 video generator. So I don't know if any of you guys watching, or any of you guys here in the boiler room, have seen some of these C-Dance 2.0 videos. But C-Dance, I'm going strictly from my pedestrian memory here, so forgive me if I get anything wrong. C-Dance is a Chinese company, and their software is pretty badass. I think it's the one that is behind like the videos of John Wick killing all of the Marvel and DC superheroes, and a lot of the AI slop that you're seeing this
The
week
big
on
one that
X.
everyone would probably have seen now is the Brad Pitt versus the Mission Impossible dude, Tom Cruise. There you go.
Yes.
That's the one that made nationwide news. So you probably saw clips of that. That one was C-Dance.
Yeah, C-Dance. It's usually got a logo on it, much like some of the other ones, so you can kind of tell, which AI is showing you stuff. But I saw a number of videos done in the Bollywood style on C-Dance. And if you know anything about Bollywood, one of the main things about Bollywood is, of course, the pomp and flair, but it is the budget. Like, what they can do with a small budget in Bollywood has just gotten more. Like, I'm not a huge Bollywood fan, but you can't help but see it if you have streaming services at least being advertised. And it's like, that industry is going to dry up faster than Hollywood. Sorry, because people are looking for financial shortcuts over there. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm not going to like read you this article or anything, but we will put it on the show page.
You can, I just dropped a link. You can just show this as an example. This one's not seed dance, but this will give you an idea of exactly what you just said. What you're now, the common person, are now capable of doing thanks to these AI tools. This one is amazing. This one blew my freaking mind. I'm like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah, some of these are just like, wow.
And this is just average. I mean, just commercial tools, usually for free, like with a trial or something. You know what I mean? It's like what the hell? This is crazy.
It is. It's absolutely nuts. Like I saw one this morning where they took, for all you manga fans out there, they took a popular manga, clip. I don't know what it was. I'm not among you guys, but anyways,
probably Dragon Ball Z. Hesher.
It might have been Dragon Ball Z or something like that. Yeah, it was top tier. It was S-class manga, and they took it and they threw it into what's it called again? C Dance? I can't remember already. Anyways, they threw it in this new AI generator, and it changed from an animation to a live actor situation. It was able to take, because the craziest things you can imagine you'll find in anime and manga, right? Like that's where a lot of imagination is. That's why young people gravitate towards it. They're able to just take, one of those productions and throw it in the software and say, make it with real people, or make it with, life, realistic looking people, actors. And they do. So this person, Ruckus, just sent us a link. Hollywood gatekeeping is dying. This is what's written by V Rasser X on X. Very soon, blockbuster level films will come from tiny teams of obsessed hobby directors armed with AI, taste, and zero permission. Big budgets won't matter. Gatekeepers won't matter. So here is a perfect example of what I'm referring to here. Check this out. This is insane. So yeah,
that's
ahead,
funny.
Daniel.
I saw that right before we jumped on this call, and that's an example of that. It's not nothing. Like there is serious teeth to AI, right? So
yeah, like for our audio only listeners, what we just saw was basically two young ladies in a nice apartment with a foam pillow and some kind of like bendable foam pad, and they acted out a scene in their apartment where they were like lost at sea, and another one where they were in a forest fire as firefighters, and they shot just the most rudimentary. I can't tell you how rudimentary their shots are. Like if you've ever tried to film something, thought, I want to be on YouTube and film something, and then looked at it and gone, what the fuck? Like that, right? Just like that. Nothing. You have a phone and a foam pillow, and you can come up with a scenario and a narrative. This software,
it's like it'd be like drawing a stick figure and saying "bam," and then now it's like a full drawn Batman kicking a villain's ass.
Yeah, right, exactly, in the style of your favorite artist
and
or
it's
your
just
favorite director.
And it's just going to be used to give us more Marvel slop.
Yeah, more slop.
You know what was amazing to me about that
Trump
one there,
memes.
Hesher? No green screen, by the way, because in Hollywood, if Hollywood wanted to do what we just saw there, they would have to use all of this fancy equipment, and all the lighting would have to be just right, and the green screen crap that we have to deal with. Like, look, your corner is missing the alternate current radio logo.
I'm missing a light. I don't have a light. My bulb burned out on that light, and now that corner of my screen is.
But now AI can just film you sitting in your.
I just lost your audio there, Ruckus. But yeah, I could just literally say I could download this video after, submit it to CDance or whatever, and say, hey, my light in the lower right corner, crapped out. And see, I can't see my company logo. I can't see it. Can you fix that, C-Dance? It's that easy.
I just had the craziest thought, like as Ruckus was his connection was cutting out. There's all this digital twinning. So imagine like if he cuts out, you just press the button and you bring up the AI Ruckus digital twin. I saw Ray Dalio. He's selling a service which is in beta where he created a digital twin of himself, and he's going to, I guess, be selling mentoring and coaching service
That
but
he
not with
doesn't
him,
have to do himself?
with this digital twin. But I'm thinking like that makes no sense, because if I'm a human being and I got issues or I want a business help, the AI will give me an answer, the Dalio digital twin. But I'm pretty certain that if I had an actual call with Dalio, he might, because he's a human. You got the neurons firing off and nothing. There's no like set algorithm. He might in that moment actually give me an answer that's different from what the digital twin algorithm would give. It's just it's madness,
No, it's mind bending. And it's like, what happens if you're the person that is a coach or whatever, and you refuse to do that? You're now competing with someone who is supercharged. You're in, you know what I mean? You are in a competitive business swim lane with someone who is a super broadcaster or a super plumber or a super doctor or a super villain doctor. You know what I mean? Like you can train your I can tell Jack Boot is like, what is a digital twin already? And I'm sure, a lot of people are thinking that, because it's like, we shouldn't have to be thinking about what our digital twin would be doing or what happens to our business if we don't adopt a digital twin. But here we are.
A digital twin will be appointed to you if you cannot afford one, Hector.
Stop it. Don't do that.
I just dropped this link. It's very pertinent to exactly to what we're discussing here, because the Super Bowl was recent. There were two major stories. I hope we get to talk about the other one. But the other one that you may not have been aware of, Hesher, was this thing. The people who own crypto.com, y'all might have heard that name because they made headlines and waves with the people that they were using to promote their services, who got into a lot of trouble after the Sam Bankman-Fried stuff, because they were all promoting this stuff. But anyways, crypto.com is a big deal. That's where people go to buy their crypto. The president promotes it. Well, the owners of them have a new thing that they like to sell, and they advertised it in Super Bowl out of nowhere. No one was like expecting this, but they purchased the domain AI.com. So now they want to create a marketplace where you go, and you, as an average everyday person, or maybe as an employer, you get to rent out your very own AI agent to do things for you. So that's the first step to the digital twin, because a digital twin is just a personalized AI agent that emulates and looks like and sounds like you. It's like an LLM that was trained on your own experiences, allegedly. So what you were talking about there, where the expert or the consultant is now replaced themselves with their AI digital twin. Yeah. Way to sell your soul. But you're just saying, like, you're only as useful as the information that you're storing inside your little cheap brain, which pales in comparison to the data centers, right? So it's all part of this garbage. It's all part of this nonsense. But I think they ultimately don't want human beings doing the work anymore, which means we're going to get cut off from the work. But there's going to be instances where we still need to access with that world, and we're going to do it through AI agents or our own digital twins. And if we don't already own our own digital twin, we're going to be the poor saps that have to cut out a chunk of our universal basic income to rent an AI agent from AI.com. Does that make sense? You might be muted.
It's a very altered carbon, Ruckus. Another sci-fi analog to what we're experiencing or predicting here. It's sort of like, yeah, there's a new paradigm, and if you can afford it, you're sort of godlike, right? You can record your memories, you can upload your Neuralink like I'm mixing metaphors here into sci-fi, so forgive me, but you can upload your get a Neuralink, have it uploaded to a satellite cloud every 24 hours. God forbid you die. Your memory can be downloaded into, whatever flesh bag you can afford. If you're rich and elite, you can get an enhanced flesh bag. Your memories will all be intact. Your soul's questionable, but you live on. That is sort of the dream of the technocrat. If I understand, this is the kind of thing the friends of Jeffrey Circle talk about. At least that's pretty apparent in the emails.
This is all very interesting. When I first heard about AI or paid attention to it, it struck me on one level as just a service. You're an eighth grader, you're a high schooler, you want to finish that term paper. You have AI do a little bit of the research for you, maybe just some basics, and you incorporate that into your class assignment. And the teacher makes sure you did most of the work, that you only use the AI like you would use World Book Encyclopedia in hard print or something. And I think on one level, something like AI is just a juiced up search engine, and it's not necessarily a bad thing if it's pluralistic or democratic. It's kind of like the money system. There's another analogy there. The reason the monetary system is so fundamentally flawed is because it's so fundamentally undemocratic. If you're the producers of money, the Federal Reserve suborns our government to print Federal Reserve notes for the Fed. But the notes are only 10% of the money supply. Most of it is just bank credit, digital entries. That's designed to enrich those that created and run the system primarily, and the Wall Street crowd. And the crumbs that are left are supposed to be in trickle-down economics, somehow getting to the lower levels. But everybody knows, either specifically or at least they know instinctively, that the system is rigged, the monetary system. So this strikes me as simply creating digital communications that is rigged to the rich and powerful, who first own the monetary system, who first own and control credit. Then they buy the legacy media, and then they venture into these things. And some of the people responding have mentioned, like, digital twins, or the concept of digital twins have maybe been around longer than we think. But what could be just a useful tool becomes another point of leverage for the rich and powerful, for the plutocratic few. And it follows that same chain. Once you control the money, you can buy up the media. Once you buy up the media, you can create and control a technocratic system, of which AI is a part. So it all comes back to what some philosophers have said, that if you want to keep controlling the monetary system, you can't rest on your laurels. You've got to control communications, because that's controlling knowledge. And if you control knowledge, you control whether people can ever launch a real revolution and overthrow that monetary monopoly. So you're not just controlling what people learn and how you communicate, you're trying to prevent them from revolting. You've got to put a damper on that. So therefore, it becomes total information awareness. You can't just control the money. You've got to control everything as a matter of course. It's just what you have to do if you're the plutocratic few.
So, Mark, considering what you just laid out, I think it's worth mentioning that ABC/Warner is now basically in the hands of political Zionist Peter Thiel and others.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
TikTok. Peter Thiel, I might be wrong. Someone correct me on the Peter Thiel ABC Warner thing, but Peter Thiel,
CBS.
yeah,
Connections
CBS.
to Barry
Thank you.
Weiss.
Yeah, Barry Weiss there at CBS.
Who's totally
TikTok.
unqualified, by the way.
Totally unqualified. Not a journalist. Not
And
anyone with
it was an
experience.
Ellison connection, right? Not a Thiel.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right.
And then we've got the sale of TikTok. Okay, so what's going on here right now? I think, Mr. Boot. But what this is all about is a consolidation for my Canadian homies. This is a consolidation of the narrative, right? Like we're seeing various ardent political Zionists taking up the big five, the big six, if you will. When kind of have to, it used to be you would see the heat map of who owns the media, and it was like Disney and Cox and all these big corporations. Well, now you have to throw Palantir, Oracle, X, Elon Musk. You have to throw all these technocrat people in there. It's like overnight. Well, it was like as soon as Trump, this version of Trump was brought into office, all those people were right there behind him. And now they own a lot of the media. And now a lot of the messaging that was going out about Gaza, about Middle East geopolitics, about many of the things you'll hear guests on Geopolitics and Empire talk about in Sunday Wire and various places are now verboten over there on a lot of these platforms where people used to be getting good information.
Yeah, and Sun Valley, the annual Sun Valley meeting in Idaho is one of the more noted places where tech and media moguls go to make deals. Jeff Bezos owning the Washington Post was supposed to have been hatched there, Sun Valley, Idaho. And you see Axel Springer at Bilderberg and Zenny Mitten-Beddoes at The Economist, and Axel Springer making forays into American media out of Germany, meeting at Bilderberg. So Bilderberg and Sun Valley seem to be where a lot of the deal making happens, even if it's not on their agenda.
Right.
I'll just add, I mean, Mark basically summed it up. It's the neo-techno-feudalism. Like Joel Kotkin talks about neo-feudalism. Yanis Varoufakis calls it techno-feudalism. I call it neo-techno-feudalism, like Elysium. And what you mentioned about the search engines, I mean, it'd be great if we can find that clip, which it actually proves my point. Trying to find that clip, you almost can't find it anymore, of Eric Schmidt some 5, 10, 15 years ago, the former Google head, saying it came true. They've planned this decades ago. He said our goal for the search engine is you just type in your query and you get the one answer. And that's what the ChatGPT is now. And first they broke the search engines. I think we talked about this, Hesher, on my podcast. Man, 20 years ago, they would give you dozens of pages and you'd have a wealth of information. And now they give you like one page and it's all, you can't find alt media sources. It's all just mainstream media. And now that they've transferred that to ChatGPT, so soon they'll do away probably with search engines. And ChatGPT will just give you the one answer. And you got no other sources, nowhere to look. And it's like you're screwed.
And for further information, consult a professional.
There you go.
And it's worth noting that the GPT guy, Sam Altman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Bilderberg at just the right time for this to jive. 2-3 years ago, whenever it was. He's not a frequent attendee, but he went right when he needed to.
Yeah, and the way that all the CEOs and governments have latched on to his message makes me think that whatever his pitch was pretty damn good and pretty damn agreeable to the globalist crowd.
Yeah, it's the homogenization of information. One of the best things you can do is keep one oar in the analog waters. Go buy that 1943 set of Britannica encyclopedias and put them on your shelf.
Yeah, and go buy that 2025 version of RAM chips because you may not be able to afford them in 2026. Oh crap! It's already February.
And if you get a dictionary, make sure it's pre-World War II.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let me throw this up here. This was sent in by Power Listener Creative Accidents. Thank you. It's from the one and only Kim.com. Of course, he starts with breaking. Palantir was allegedly hacked. An AI agent was used to gain super user access, and here's what the hackers allegedly found. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp commit mass surveillance of world leaders and titans of industry on a massive scale. They have backdoored the devices, cars, and jets of world leaders and accumulated the biggest archive of blackmail material. Palantir is creating nuclear and bioweapon capabilities for Ukraine and is working closely with the CIA to defeat Russia. They believe they are 1 year away. They plan to achieve this by keeping Russia busy with meaningless peace negotiations. Palantir is responsible for the majority of Palestinian deaths in Gaza. They have developed the AI targeting for Israel. Palantir is an arm of the CIA, and all data from international clients is copied into a CIA spy cloud. Palantir has become the most dangerous company in the world. If you work there, you have the right to know that this is what Palantir's AI is used for without your knowledge. The Palantir data the hackers allegedly gathered will be given to Russia and or China. Excuse me. I was chosen as a trusted partner for this publication. I'm not involved in the Palantir hack, and I don't know the hackers, but I do know the hack happened. Again, from Kim.com. Most of you know who that is. If you don't, look them up. I don't know. More AI doomsday there. More panopticon doomsday. Roy, what do you think?
Kim follows me on X. I DM'd him for an interview request once and never got a response. But I followed him for a while, and he flirts in the sort of multipolar camp.
He does, and he's not always right. Sometimes he latches onto things that are a little out there.
No, this is my thing from listening to all the Pepe Escobars. I mean, and just people who post stuff like that without like a link to some source. I take it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, yeah, it's interesting, but I can't really do anything with it, except keep it like on my mental bookshelf as a bookmark, because you can't confirm nor deny it, right?
Yeah. That is a big problem with contemporary social media, independent media.
It doesn't help when the owner of the platform, Elon Musk, says you're not allowed to post a link with your information. So that's why they do it, or at least it gives them an excuse to be lazy. Like, well, I would include a link, but I can't because then my algorithm, then nobody will see it. And I'm just like, so what's more important to you, being seen or like getting the truth out there? You know what I mean?
And that's the problem with so many alt media. I always post the links in spite of it. Maybe I mean, I don't know how true that is if it decreases your algorithm, but I cannot not post a link.
Me too. Why would I do that? I've always done that. That's the thing. I mean, that's why when, gosh, I can't say all of them because the show is hard, but most of the shows have extensive receipts, as we all like to call them these days. Extensive, do your own research links on them. The reference links, when I fill it out, approximately 7.8 times out of 10 are exhaustive on this show. I don't think most of you go click all of them, and I don't blame you, but I put them there for those of you schizos and autists that do click on all of them and correct me when I'm wrong. I appreciate you. That's not a dig. We need you. In fact, we might be almost to intermission time where we have a waxing philosophical about schizos, psychos, and normies. So you guys don't let me forget to play that tonight, because I think
that's a good one.
Yeah, that would be Mystical Pharaoh's input to tonight's show, since he couldn't be here. He sent us that one. But we're in a situation here where it's just like, okay, maybe the schizos are better than some of these people that are dominating our feeds here. So, yeah, Kim.com, it's a mixed bag. And I just can't let myself get whipped up about AI whistleblowers, about Palantir, I mean, come on, really? I'm sorry. I've been too whipped up about too many things over too many years to like, you know what I mean? Let this get me down. Let it affect my motherfucking day, if you'll excuse my French.
To be fair, Hesher, we already let Palantir ruin our day, like what, decades ago?
Yeah. You know,
Well,
I was thinking when we were looking at your Valentine Day card you got from Alex Karp there, Ruckus. I was thinking about, okay, when was the first time I brought up Palantir on the interwebs? And Spore could probably nail it for me completely, but I think it was approximately 2012. I brought it up on a now defunct network. And I remember the people in the chat just being like jaw on the floor. Like, what are you talking about? Palantir, like that's a Tolkien term. Like, why are you talking to us about a wizard seeing stone from a beloved fantasy novel, you know? Well, because I had a feeling we were going to end up right fucking here. That's why. And now it is just like, yep, there it is. Good old Alex. Look at this. Look at this lovely card, everybody. Let me read it to everybody here for our audio listeners. This is to Ruckus from Alex Karp of Palantir. We have some AI slop of Alex Karp breakdancing in his chair at the World Economic Forum or Davos or something like that. But anyway, well, my algorithms have been quietly profiling your every click, like, and late night scroll since 2003. I've concluded with 99.97 confidence that you're the only anomaly worth keeping in my darkest forever. Happy Valentine's Day. No opt out available. Your CEO and permanent admin. What a guy.
Data set, by the way, because this cursive sucks.
Oh, yes, his data set. It's such a big data set. I see your data set is as big as mine, Alex. Yeah. Okay. If anyone else wants to speak, now's your time because I'm going to transition to our
Real quick for
interlude.
Havori, in our private chat here, I dropped you a link to a Medium article that has that exact quote from Eric Schmidt, and it was on an interview with Charlie Rose. But Eric Schmidt said, and I quote, "Well, that's a bug." When he was asked, when you use Google, do you get more than one answer? Of course you do. Well, that's a bug. We should be able to give you the right answer just once. We should know what you meant. You should look for information. We should get it exactly right. Boy, that's lovely.
Gee, thanks, guys. All right, let's see if I can find this thing here. It is, well, we have just been on fire this week in this chat. My goodness, we could have a 10-hour show talking about just the links that have gone on in our chat. All the Scam Blondie stuff. My goodness. By the way, Daniel Spalding had to bug out. So thank you, Daniel, for your time tonight. Goodness gracious. We had fun with Scam Blondie, didn't we? Oh, we also should not forget, just honorable mention, Israeli PM, some guy named Net and Yahoo, meets with Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and others on our Capitol Hill here in America.
These are all elected officials, right?
Sure, that's super important to everybody. Yeah. Ruckus, I am not finding my interlude link. Do you happen to have it, perhaps?
Oh, you wanted? Okay, yeah. I have it on my X, as a matter of fact.
That would be most excellent. Most
Because
excellent. Oh, actually, I just found it.
You
I
got it?
found it, man. Yeah.
It's so funny because we have a private chat. The alternate current radio hosts and guests and admins on our Discord channel. That's special for us to, collate links for those things we're going to discuss or what's on our radar or whatever. And it's like half the time, more than half the time, it's like, oh wow, yeah, I just posted that or was just talking about that with somebody. Yeah, it's like we're all on the same page. It's so scary. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I know. And we'll get to this after the interlude here, but I really appreciate our Discord, and I'm super discombobulated that it is what it is right now, the situation with them. We do have thoughts about an alternative. If you're among the crowd that says, "Hey, I'm in this Discord and I don't want to be on this app anymore," hey, we hear you. We got some thoughts and ideas, but we're still working on that. So, but anyways, for our intermission tonight here in the boiler room, again, alternatecurrentradio.com is our website. If you want to support us, the easiest and freest thing for you to do is to subscribe and hit the thumb up thingy and the bell thingy. That's all cool. The other things you can do is exactly what you're doing right now, is throwing comments up. I'm trying to keep an eye on those. And share it. Those are all the free things you can do. But of course, on the website, you can support us in other ways if you're so inclined. So let's check out for our intermission tonight psychos, normies, and schizos. And I will preface this by saying I have made a lot of intentionally derogatory comments to a lot of schizophrenic lunatics out there. You guys seem to love this show. I don't know what that is. A lot of great people love this show, but schizophrenic lunatics seem to love the show too. I don't know what that says about me or the rest of you guys, but hey, it is what it is. Anyways, perhaps we should be a little nicer to our schizophrenic lunatics out there and focus on psychos. So here we go.
We need to vote Skitsos into office. This is the secret war that's been going on since the dawn of time. Now, most of the world is made up of normies. Now, these people are taken advantage of very easily by psychos. They prey on these people, they manipulate these people, they trick these people. Normies, unfortunately, cannot see psychos. But you know who can? Skitsos, the heroes of our story. Skitsos are the natural predator of psychos. We have pattern recognition abilities that are inexplicable. Now, schizos were once upon a time revered as the kind of wise people of their collective groups. Unfortunately, since psychos run the world, they've convinced all the normies to be afraid of the schizos. I make videos sometimes online and my wife tells me, look at my Oura ring. My heart rate increased to a very stressful state watching your video, and then it went back down. Sorry, babe. Psychos benefit from relaxed empathy.
Sorry, babe.
And their attraction to cruelty, it seems. And that allows them to accrue a lot of power. That power allows them to manipulate the normies to fear the schizo, to ostracize the schizo, to deny the schizo. It never feels very good to say, I told you so, when you're a schizo. And the I told you so's you're seeing are about like pedo elites running the world and stuff like that. That feels bad when you go, well, I told you so. But schizos, wish we'd listened to you sooner. But that's my point. We need to stop fearing and ostracizing the schizo and start opening our ears and hearts to hear the truth that they're telling us. Because the conspiracy theorist schizo is almost always right. Now, yes, they'll get some of the details around the edges a little wrong. It sounds a little literal. You need to understand it as poetry and metaphor. I'll give you an example. Birds aren't real. That's a fun conspiracy theory, that they're just little listening device robots that exist. Now, there are real birds. We know that to be true. But are there also listening devices and surveillance devices everywhere, hidden in the natural world, it seems? We don't even know what the natural world is anymore. We can't even trust if the world is natural or not anymore. They're doing things without telling us. They're observing us constantly. Yes, yes. There are things in the sky that are alien to us flying around. That could just be drones. That's all true. One thing I've noticed, there aren't any schizo politicians I can think of. Lots of normies, plenty of psychos. They seem to make up our entire government. What we need to do, start supporting the schizos. We need to vote schizos into office as soon as we can. Let's use voting. That's a weapon. And let's start looking for more schizo candidates. Let's get some real weirdos in there. Because at this point, what they're doing, that seems pretty weird to me. They think it's too big to fail. I think we need to blow it up.
I don't know about his last comment there, but most of the rest of it resonated. I don't know what you guys think.
Did you see his chalkboard? Clearly, we know what category that gentleman falls under.
Oh, yeah.
He's a natural schizo.
You notice how he said we when talking about schizos, too. All right. Jenny says, Team Schizo, thumbs up. it's a lonely road. You're right, you know, and my apologies to all the schizos. I have schizo shamed out there because, you know, who am I to schizo shame? I am a schizo poster. So, you know, that's
what
great.
what was he, Hesh? How would you summarize the final statement of what he was saying? It seems like he was saying, you know, damn the torpedoes. Let's get some normal schizos in there and get rid of these power hungry people. I came in a little late. Is that kind of what he was saying?
Couldn't agree more, Mark. I've said it myself in different ways over the years. Like, let's go grab 538 homeless people off the streets that are addicted to the worst drug we could possibly imagine and let them represent the people in their states and districts. That would be preferable to the kleptocracy, the plutocracy, the, you know, bullshit globalocracy that we have right now.
Yeah. I know a lot about elections. Now, elections are a very paradoxical concept. Okay, you know, if 51% of the people voting, and you're assuming they have some working knowledge of what or whom they're voting about, if 51% vote a certain way, then society has to go that way. The water plant gets built in the city, or the bond issue is approved by the voters and they create a new street or upgrade a street. Or it could be something higher up the totem pole. But if a million people believe a stupid thing, it's still a stupid thing. And so you think about, well, okay, people say we need honest elections, go back to paper ballots, you know, too many computers are counting our votes in secret, and that's true. But the whole concept of an election is somewhat suspect, because even if you have an honest election, you're still going on the principle that if a majority of people believe a certain thing, that they must be correct because they're a majority. And so that's part of the reason the founders gave us a republic. You know, there's a democratic element to it. The House is elected every 2 years in a direct election. Senators originally were supposed to be appointed by the state legislatures and then serve as U.S. senators, so the states would be represented. They got rid of that through the 17th Amendment. And so the Republican system has been altered. But then I've heard people say, well, we don't want sortition. And I think sortition is where you just have sort of a citizen assembly. But I personally, and maybe sortition's the wrong word, I've always believed, or at least entertained the thought, and it ties into what you just said, Hesher, that what if you elected people to serve in Congress like you would a jury? People would be registered in the system, but they'd be randomly selected. People would go, oh, you mean selected by AI? But I digress. Right. But they'd be randomly selected like you do for jury duty, and you'd get something in the mail that says unless you're physically unable, or you meet some other exception, or you meet some other exemption, you are summoned to go serve in Congress for X amount of time, or at least be considered for it, and you'd get a stipend, and so on and so forth. And then instead of having mostly lawyers in the House of Representatives, for example, you would have a true cross-section of people. You might have the poorest person living in Philadelphia sitting next to the richest person representing a nearby district in Pennsylvania. You might have a real working class person instead of a fake one sitting next to the son of a banker. You would have a true democratic representation, and there wouldn't be any influence peddling or people putting money into elections, because there wouldn't be elections as we know them in the first place. You would use a jury system. Maybe you'd try it locally first for like a state legislature or a county board at the county level. There's just over 3,000 counties in the United States. So could you do any worse? There's just that open question. Could you do any worse than having elections and gerrymandering where politicians pick voters rather than voters picking politicians? That's what gerrymandering boils down to. Redistricting, it's also known as. So you see what I mean? It's like it's almost like that guy was saying, could we do any worse? Let's send the dregs in, being tongue in cheek, we're the dregs. And how do you do that? You just have an actual random drawing and you go serve based on that jury-like system. And I'll leave it at that. I have to turn in soon. I got to get up early tomorrow for some things, but it's kind of like damn the torpedoes. Is even an honest election the right way to go? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Mark. Well, I hear you got to get out of here pretty soon. Let me ask you this before you got to go. Any Super Bowl cultural shock signals? Did you pay attention at all? Any thoughts on the biggest sports ball event in America?
I was getting my bathroom remodeled. It started right about then, and it took a while.
That's the old "I was busy washing my hair" excuse I heard at the prom, dude.
Yeah, I was busy staying at my sister's house because my bathroom was rendered inoperable. I not only missed the Super Bowl, I didn't know who was playing.
Well, Mark, you might appreciate this. I'll leave you with this one before you got to go. Do you remember on Dr. Phil many years ago? This young woman came on. Let me type this in. Dr. Phil, cash me outside girl. Do you remember that one? The Catch Me Outside girl on Dr. Phil?
I'm gonna say no.
Bad Bobby.
Dr. Phil's
Bad Bobby, Bad Baby, right? Like that was I think her name, Ruckus.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a take on Barbie, but Bobby.
Bad Bobby. So like we talked about this back when it was a cultural phenomenon on Boiler Room, probably, I don't know, 8-9 years ago. And Spore told me, she said, "What do you know about what's his name, Spore? What do you know about Bad Bunny?" And I'm like, "Oh, from Dr. Phil? Yeah, Bad Baby. Bad Baby's awesome. Like Cash Me Outside, right?" And she's like, "I don't know about that." So I looked it up, and it's some pop artist I've never heard of. Cuban, I think, maybe Puerto Rican. Okay.
Cuban.
I'm like,
He must be from Cuba.
yeah, I'm like, okay, never heard of him. And it's just like for what, like 48 hours, my X feed turned into nothing but like Con Inc. people being upset about this person performing at the big sports bowl event. And I just don't know what the fuck is going on, Mark. Like, I'm like you. I was literally remodeling the bathroom, I think, when this was, I'm not even making a joke there. But this is who I thought was going to be the Super Bowl halftime show when Spore asked me.
My time in jail. Jail ain't nothing. That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yep.
So that's how disconnected I am from the Super Bowl, Mark. I figured that was probably the halftime show right there.
Well, that little segment of Phil's show felt like Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to. He went through a Springer phase where he was really trying to figure out how to stay relevant.
Yeah, I last comment. Dr. Phil is one of those people where when I hear him talk, I get this sort of uneasiness about it. Like it's so much a put on, so much a persona,
Yeah. I start to wonder how many steps removed he is from the Friends of Jeffrey network, personally.
Yeah, if this guy's some sort of intel front, some sort of gatekeeper, I don't know, just kind of got like, repeat that for me again. How'd it go for you? Really went bad for you. How'd you feel about it?
Are you calling the audience a bunch of hoes? All right, Mark, I will let you go because we are descending into pure madness here. So this is a great point to pull ourselves back up from the rabbit hole and say, Mr. Jack Boot or M. Anderson, thetruthhound.com. You can catch him on ukcolumn.org. Mark, any final thoughts before you got to jump?
Not really. I won't say Super Bowl's my favorite baseball game of the year, but not really. But a very good discussion
It's
today.
hockey, Mark. It's hockey.
You guys opened up a lot of good lines of inquiry, and you went part of the way down all of them, and they're all very important. And I would leave it with exactly what is AI, exactly what is it with these people in foreign countries running cars and things. What kind of circus or fake facade are we maybe looking at? Don't jump to too many conclusions and keep poking at it.
I love it, Mark. Thank you very much for the based outro there. There goes Mark Anderson. You can find, thanks, Mark. We can find him at thetruthhound.com and, of course, ukcolumn.org. At
Can
least
I add a
once a week.
caveat to what you guys were talking about there about the Bad Bunny thing?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so the outrage over it was actually way before the event took place, but then it got really visceral and like, oh, it's really happening once the event took place. So many people were concerned about this person who they're like, he's not even going to sing in English, and they're like, we're going to send ICE there and cause trouble. They really were trying to do the whole he's a foreigner thing and split divide, and he's pro-trans, and
were they going to deport that motherfucker during the middle of the Super Bowl or something?
All this weird talk. So already people, the Con Inc. were upset about him even being there. So brilliant idea. So this was the other major thing was like, oh, well, the TPUSA people said, well, we're going to do something different. So we're going to do our own Super Bowl halftime show. Right. So while the real Super Bowl halftime show was taking place, allegedly, according to the reports, more people supposedly tuned out, and they said, like, well, screw this crap. We're going to go tune into the TPUSA All American Christian themed performance by Kid Rock. So all I saw on my feed after the Super Bowl was everyone arguing about which. I'm like, dude, it's bad enough that I have to deal with people talking about one Super Bowl halftime show. This year, we're like, which halftime Super Bowl show was better? I'm like, dude, this cannot be.
Which one made you more
Please
mad?
Just put one right now in the dome and just call it done because I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. When in fact there was a much bigger and important argument to be had about the Super Bowl, thanks to this creepy ad that played about the Ring doorbell cameras finding people's lost pets, which is the big story that I really want us to hit if possible.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, first off, Ruckus, let me just throw this anomaly / oddity / good job, guys. I'm sure this is going to help you win midterm elections. Follow-up event. And that would be this one. It was posted by Polymarket, which is kind of hilarious and kind of signals something. Breaking: House Republicans announced investigation into Bad Bunnies, not to be confused with Bad Bobby, Super Bowl performance, alleging the Spanish lyrics were quote unquote inappropriate for television. This is not the way to proceed, guys. Let me just here's some free advice from some dipshit on the internet to the Trump administration, to the DOJ, to the House Republicans. This is not the way. This is not the way. Okay. Maybe some people are falling for this, but if you look at the comments under this post, like this one, for example, it's a meme, right? Bad Bunny halftime show. House representatives Dow at 50,000. Epstein client list. Oh my God. You're really going to have to just see this one to get it truly. I'm not going to explain it to you audio listeners, but the comments under this are pure 24 karat gold. Adam Curate says they should investigate these lyrics instead with some Kid Rock lyrics there. I won't even read you those. It is just a smattering of this kind of stuff under this. I mean, even independents and right of center conservatives are just, I mean, Hervore, This is clearly not something that resonates with most people. Yet at the same time, we have a TPUSA halftime show. I mean, I don't know what is more illustrative of where we are right now than this whole scenario.
I mean, the inappropriate lyrics. I mean, the stuff that's already shown on TV. Like, get out of
Yeah,
here.
get out of here
You
with
know,
that.
Number one. And I wanted to comment. This happens to me every year. Like, I don't follow sports, and I was at some lunch somewhere on Sunday, I think it was, and I had absolutely no idea that it was the Super Bowl. I'm like, really? Today they're having the Super Bowl? Like I literally have no clue whatsoever. So, yeah, bread and circuses. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I think that pretty much everybody inside the boiler room, even people like you who are, here less frequently, are of the same mindset. None of us are sports ball people. I might be wrong. I might be missing a closet sports ball person somewhere in the team, but I'm pretty sure most of us are like, they use the hockey ball for that sport, right? Like we just, are full of all the tropes.
I
from
thought
people
it's
that don't do
grossly
it.
unfair to people like us who generally the only thing we get to do with the Super Bowl is analyze the halftime show for all the satanic symbology. And now we have to work double time and do that for 2 Super Bowl halftime shows.
Right?
It's ridiculous. We don't
Right.
get paid to do this.
I love this, Ruckus. Thank you for bringing that up. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Really? Like, already as it is, we have to look at, the Red Hot Chili Peppers lip syncing. We have to look at Beyonce bringing like a satanic ritual. We have to look at all this other crap. And
We had
and,
Janet Jackson's nipple too, remember?
oh, the good old days when all it was an innocent nipple, the nip slip. I mean, I missed the nip slip.
I missed the chili. What was the Chili Peppers lip syncing thing? When was that?
Oh, yeah, they came out and admitted that when they did the Super Bowl halftime in like 2019 or roundabout, that yes, sorry everybody, we Milli Vanilli'd that. You have to Milli Vanilli that if you're gonna do the Super Bowl. And I'm just sitting there, hello, has anyone seen Prince's performance at the fucking Super Bowl? Anyone want to tell me that was Milli Vanilli bullshit? No thanks. And I'm the weirdo that doesn't give a fuck about the NFL or watch the Super Bowl ever, who's still pissed off that, like, why has Metallica never been invited to the fucking Super Bowl? And at this point, like, after everything I've seen, I'm like, you know what? They're better off not going there, especially if they're going to be asked to fucking lip sync or something like that. Get the fuck out of here. They may have been offered the Super Bowl and said, no, we're not lip syncing. Fuck you. Like, was Prince the last person to actually fucking play an instrument and sing a song at the goddamn Super Bowl? I'm sorry, I'm done. That's all I'm going to say about the Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck about it, but even though it sounds like I do.
And
my dogs are upset.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really
But like I like what Ruckus wanted to touch on. It's like I don't even need to know the Super Bowl's going on. I don't need to watch it. All I found was through the social media. Like I watched Dan Dick's Press for Truth. He did a segment on it.
There you go.
The Amazon Ring ad, and then the whole, like, I'm not even following this garbage. Some lady get Nancy Guthrie kidnapped, blah blah blah. That's all they're talking about. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, but it was a false flag to promote the Amazon Ring surveillance. Like that's like, yeah, that's it.
I love that, dude. Big shout out to Daniel Spalding, because that back chat we were talking about earlier, like a couple days ago, Daniel Spalding jumped in there and he was like, who the fuck is this Guthrie chick everybody's talking about? And I was like, I don't know. I think she hosts something on Fox. And then Ruckus is like, no, dummy. She hosts something on ABC or CBS. It's just like all of us.
It's the Today Show, people. Get it right. No.
And like all of us were just like, who the fuck is this person? And like, why do we care about some Fed, false flag about her mom or some shit? Get out of here. Like we are quite literally learning that everybody with the thickest tinfoil hats like you could possibly imagine were fucking right after all this time about the pedocracy and the PDF parties and all this crap. And
right. Speaking of Milli Vanilli, right?
You want us to worry about Milli Vanilli actions? That looks like Cash App, PayPal. And
It
Dan
is. Dan
Bongo.
Bongino and Cash Patel are literally the Milli Vanilli of going after the deep state.
It's Danny Bongos and cross-eyed Cash App PayPal. Wow, there they are. The ultimate Milli Vanilli of MAGA.
But by the way, there was a great clip by some big YouTuber. I think it was titled "Fraud Bongino" or something. It's like a. I don't know if you saw that, but
No.
he came back to podcasting, and it was a good clip, and he was demonstrating how in the week, his first week back, his numbers tanked. Like the first Monday, it was like 1.5 million views, and I don't know how many thousands of comments, and then by Friday, in all of those indicators, it was less than half. Like no one's buying it anymore.
And let me just underline what you just said for anyone who like smartly doesn't pay attention to this bullshit. President Donald J. Trump, number 47 himself, showed up on the first episode. Okay, so if that's not an indicator of where whatever MAGA is currently, I don't know what is, because they quite literally, I mean, I'm sorry, Danny Bongos, much like Cash App, PayPal, Mr. Valhalla, you're feckless, useless, and nothing but a propaganda tool at this point. So everybody's seeing that. Even when the Don himself, the Orange Man, comes on your little fucking Rumble show where we're broadcasting tonight. Hopefully they won't kick us off for this. You lose audience. Danny Bongos, what did you expect? You sucked so bad as a fake political figure that the Trump administration, aka Israel, said to you, you know what, Danny Bongos, you might be more fucking useful as a podcaster. You might be more fucking useful competing with this Brian McClain asshole who gets no views. Well, they were right. Apparently that's all you're good for. And the audience sees it. The audience does not forget that you were the guy all the way from 2022 to January of 2024, February, March, I don't know, who was saying, we got to figure out this Epstein stuff. We need it released. Now it's released and you're like, who the fuck's that guy? That's all fake. Dude.
I just want to add, like, I just found it hilarious too. Did you guys see the whole Nirvana Kurt Cobain's back in the news?
Oh hell yeah, I did,
And I'm
dude.
like, I did, like, I at this point, who cares? Like, they're bringing in the technocracy. I can't buy food. What the hell do I care about Kurt Cobain? This about 35 years ago. Like, get the hell out of here, you know,
dude. I have to so sadly say, and so proudly at the same time, that 10 years ago, myself, Sean Hilton, Patrick Henningsen, Spore McHeshington, Jay Dyer, others in our team were 100% engaged with the private investigator that was handling the case. I mean, let me put this on screen for a second here. Look at that. Ruckus is supposed to be presenting. I'm going to present. I'm going to put this on screen here. So this, again, dreaded dailymail.co.uk. Testing Kurt's gun. Look at this. Look at this. It is 2026. And we have to have a UK rag tell us what we have been saying here at Alternate Current Radio and 21st Century Wire for a decade or more. His death shocked fans and sent ripples through the music world, but decades later, Kurt Cobain's final moments are under renewed scrutiny. Say it isn't so. The Nirvana, for my Beavis and Butthead fans, the Nirvana lead singer died on April 5th, 1994, at the age of 27 from a self-inflicted shotgun wound at his Seattle home. At the time, the King County Medical Examiner ruled his death suicide by Remington Model 11 20-gauge shotgun. Now, an unofficial private sector team of forensic scientists has put fresh eyes on Cobain's autopsy and crime scene materials, bringing in Brian Burnett, a specialist who previously worked on cases involving overdoses followed by gunshot trauma. Now, I'm not going to keep going there, but I will say this. My good friend and colleague, who I worked with on this case a fucking decade ago, had this to say when he saw that news. By the way, you should follow him at Real Anthem Band. The Real Anthem is the name of the band. Looks like vindication for those who were critical of the findings in this case for decades. And he tags Tom Grant, PI. Tom Grant is a private investigator that our friend from the Real Anthem interviewed at 21stcenturywire.com. And we did extensive writing. He did extensive writing. We did extensive reporting about that. And he goes on to say, we covered this in depth at 21stcenturywire.com well over a decade ago. Check it out at 21wire, at Hesher Media, and I would add at Jay Dyer there also, and maybe Daniel Spalding too. But I don't know if Daniel Spalding's even on the X. But anyways, like, we covered this story so fucking long ago and had Tom Grant on the show. I mean, if you've seen Montage of Heck, you've been propagandized. If you've seen Soaked in Bleach, you've seen a more measured documentary about the situation. If you've seen both Soaked in Bleach and Montage of Heck, you're more where we're sitting here and can at least decide for yourself what is propaganda and where the anomalies are, at the very least, forensic anomalies. So, Hervore, yeah, I totally resonate with what you just said. It's like,
I don't.
Why now? You're giving us this now? This has been known and an open question mark for over 20 years, particularly the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I don't doubt y'all's report on that was accurate. It's just kind of like,
yeah, now it's the timing.
It's like, what? I mean, and Nirvana, it's a bit. It's funny because I was walking somewhere, I don't remember today or yesterday here in Mexico, and there was it's funny to see a young Mexican teenager was wearing a Nirvana t-shirt. I mean, the life on that is pretty wild, but again, the timing, it's just all of a sudden,
Yeah. And it's like, much like Epstein. Is someone going to fucking do something about it? Is somebody going to do something about it? Is somebody going to investigate Courtney Love? Is somebody going to investigate someone other than El Duce from the Mentors? Is somebody going to talk to El Duce from the Mentors? Because he says that Courtney Love tried to pay him to do in Kurt.
For those of us who aren't in the know, just could you kind of summarize what you think is the thesis? So it was Courtney who did it?
Well, Courtney is an open question mark. And from what we discovered in the investigation and from what my synapses can retain, there were, number one, the most damning thing were the forensic things. Like, number one, the placement of the shotgun was not in a place that was consistent with a self-inflicted wound. It looked like it had been moved. Number two, there was the timeline. There are holes in the timeline about his final days. Number three, there are people that were with him in his final days whose stories do not match up with the official narrative. And it's all really like simple forensic investigation stuff. Like, it may not lead to a conviction or a killer, but it would at least remove. There are some simple forensic things in there that bring into question the suicide narrative.
There's a comment here in the chat, which is great. It says Courtney was the early Kirk wife.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. Thank you. And by the way, did Ruckus, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think someone posted a link. Maybe it was you that said Courtney Love has left the country.
There was something about how she was leaving the country under some pretense about Trump coming in as, again, she was worried about that. But now people are like, ha ha ha, it's because she knew that this was going to happen. I don't know if there's any there.
Is she in the Epstein files? I mean, really, that's the best reason to leave.
Well, I don't know, but allegedly Erica Kirk is. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, don't send me down that rabbit hole. I come with receipts and ammo on that one.
I mean, like, shoot, I'd rather talk about Epstein files than the Kirk thing. Holy moly!
Oh my gosh, I know. Talk about, but it's kind of like, it's like this is sort of the same thing with alien disclosure, with JFK, with 9/11, Tucker recently, like with his milquetoast 9/11 broadcast. It's kind of like, this all fits with the sort of milieu that we've been seeing, where it's like, okay, here's a grand conspiracy. Here's the final answer on it. We're moving on. Like, I feel like that's the main message right now as it pertains to, I want to say older events like, this secret society, that secret society, the Act of 1870, the, 9/11, JFK, World War I, World War II, all these false flags. It's like we got all these things, but it's like right now, here in 2026, for the last year or two or three or four, it's sort of been a boiling frog thing. It's been like, here's your documentary on this. Here's your final article on this. Here's your AI summary on this. This is done. We're moving on, yeah. And they're doing it in real time now. It's like look at Scam Blondie, perfect example. We have just seen one of the craziest disclosures ever. Never mind aliens and grays and UFOs and UAPs and all that. Like, the Friends of Jeffrey PDF network has just been unveiled, unleashed, made available for you to search through, for us to search through, for the interweb to do what it will with, for us to lose our faith in any remaining institutions to. Do we really think this is accidental? No. It has the veneer of white hats versus black hats. It has the feel of that, but at the same time, it's also got the feel of narrative management. It's got the stench of the rank stench of cognitive dissonance. Hive mind, all that. It's all in there for us.
Maybe the timing really has to do with Trump, because we mentioned it already. Trump really likes being the first. He likes to be, I'm the first one who did this. So it's like, I could see him like, it's a Trump administration that we finally got the truth about.
Right.
Fill in
Aliens,
the blank. We finally got
Kurt
the truth
Cobain,
about
9/11.
Yes, that's what I'm like thinking. What's next? Are they going to literally come right out and say, oh yeah, by the way, guys, 9/11 was an inside job? What do you do with that kind of information? Is that next? Is that coming?
We talked about that on Sunday Wire this morning. Basil brought that topic to the show, and it was, hey, even Cenk Unger from the Young Turks is now saying, you know what? I'm going to reevaluate my view on 9/11. Dude, where the fuck have you been? Like, do you have any comments about COVID? Do you... where, like, all these people all of a sudden are like, yeah, I'm actually with the conspiracy theorists today. Like, dude, where were you when we needed you? Where were you when it mattered? Now,
because they see now that it's now the bigger crowd is the Overton window is shifted or whatever, and now most people, a critical mass, don't believe anything, and they believe all the conspiracies. So now it's cool to come over.
Yeah.
Right. But then also, if you look in all of history, like pretty much in all of history, like when has the government admitted, has anyone been really, gone to jail or like in all of human history, I can remember very like not just like 9/11 or JFK, like the last 5,000 years of history. When has there ever been justice? You know, so
Right. Like we get ceremonial justice sometimes, right? We get Harvey Weinstein, we get Jeffrey Epstein, but we don't know if he's actually like sipping cocktails and Mai Tais on an island somewhere. But hey, that's okay. We get, they'll hand us, various bad guys, but they're out of jail in 4 or 5 years. Look at Jeffrey. He was spirited in and out of prison. He had prison guards, state police and stuff like
decoy,
that
like in the
wearing
files, they're talking about decoy. The DOJ announced he's dead before the day
yeah,
before. Decoy
wearing
bodies.
plain
Like,
clothes, like living a normal life while you're in prison. That doesn't happen to normal people. This isn't normal. Why are you treated differently? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell treated differently? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell brought vegan meals and puppies to pet and has a body double potentially? The fuck is that? I'm waiting. Anyone can tell me what that is and why we accept that. Why does Hillary Clinton have a body double? Why is there a spare White House? Why are we all wondering if Jim Carrey was Joe Biden certain days?
wait, is that a theory? What?
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
I missed that one.
Oh yeah.
That's silly. Hervori, what was you challenged? When is this? Have we seen justice in how many years? Did you
This is
say?
the beginning of time, basically.
Okay. Well,
2000.
granted. I mean, there have been a few exceptions, and it's been at the hands of the people, the masses. It's not because of the institutions. A more recent example, of course, just one of many, would be the Tambov uprising, the Russian Civil War against the Bolsheviks, and I've seen that. I've seen that referred to. Well, I mean, you go as far back as what, the 1300s with the peasants' revolt in England, right? But that type of thing. The Revolutionary War, which was the impetus for starting our country, allegedly was against corruption and a corrupt king, and we were supposed to start a new thing or whatever. But here we are 250 years later, and it's not really improved. So this is what the elites and the powers that be that are in control ultimately fear, is an actual, the pitchforks and the torches scenario, where we actually go and we are in charge of enacting the justice. And I think that they've got that nipped in the bud. I don't think we could ever get together in today's world anywhere around the planet and make plans to try to revolt or have an uprising of any kind. And I think that was the plan. So maybe that's why the mad rush is like, hey, there's nothing you guys can do about it anymore. So here you go. We're just going to finish up all the things, and then we're going to hand over all the power to the machines and be done with you fools.
I mean, I think it's always technically possible, but the people have just been so normied. I don't know what to. I lift my hands. Like, I don't know what to do anymore with the people. They've just accepted their slavery. Like, so I mean, I always leave the door open to it technically being possible, but most people have just been, in a sense, like vaccinated. Like, they can't wake up. So and then there's the other scenario where it does appear, because they have more power, more technology, more resources, that a civil war could, because I feel that the globalist deep state, at least in America, wants a second civil war. So that could actually play into their hand towards the Technate. So
Do you think the potential Second World War could be something that dovetails with the Third World War, like having a Third World War and then a civil war break out at the same time?
I've had a number of past podcast guests, some who were very erudite. I can't recall their names, but they've posited that. But then there's also some people, it also makes sense that there won't be a proper shooting Third World War, and it'll be more of a war.
That
like,
feels, that resonates, doesn't it?
Like, either one of those can work. So
right. Options. I mean, if you're a globalist right now,
You got to have options.
you got options. You know, it's looking good. It's not like the rest of us where we're out here going, what if this? What if that? What if Bluebeam? What if World War III? What if Civil War with blue-haired people? Oh my gosh, I don't know what we're gonna do, you guys. And
They
now
seem ready to do all of it all at once, right?
yeah, exactly. Just try to prep it for the preppers out there. You know what I'm talking about. You got to prep for 5, 6, 7, 2 dozen types of eventualities right now. That's not a good feeling. You know, you can prep and say, oh, I'm going to have to live in the, I'm going to have to bug out and live in the woods for a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. You can prep and say, oh, I'm going to have to go underground for a month, a week, 2 weeks, stop the curve, whatever. You could prep and be like, I'm hoarding gold for the financial crash. You could prep and be like, I'm hoarding bullets because I'm going to eat my neighbor's ass when this goes down, like Alex Jones, right? There's all these different preps you could be doing. And it's like, you could try to do all of them. Some people with a lot of resources are trying to do all of them, and shouts out to them. We all wish we were you. But you could prep for all of them and maybe have prepped for the wrong eventuality at this point. And that to me is when I turn into Jim Morrison and I say, hey man, I just want to have my kicks before the whole shit house goes up in flames. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure out what smell the flames are, what color the flames are. I want to get some fucking kicks in. And now the internet itself is changing shape. We're seeing this with Discord. I wanted to bring this up before I let you guys go. This is a few days old now, February 9th, just in Discord to globally require biometric face scan or ID verification for full access next month to protect quote unquote teen safety, coming out of The Verge. So that's the short version of what has driven people to say, wait a minute, what's going on, Discord? But this is not our first rodeo, is it, Ruckus? We've had multiple Discord scares over the years to the point where you, myself, Spore, others here at ACR and 21 Wire have had meetings and said, okay, what are we going to do if we lose this resource? What are we going to do if it turns into a globalist resource or a panopticon resource? And we've had some thoughts about that. We've even already gone ahead and set up a external server on Matrix Element, I believe.
And then it's like, can we even trust that? There's so many. Man, this is a tricky thing. Actually, this is the first time where we've had to make these types of plans for this type of reason. It's usually because we were afraid that Discord, were going to kick us out for something that we were doing. Like we were just minding our own business, just doing our thing, and that was somehow going to be a violation of their hate speech laws or medical misinformation or whatever, fill in the blank. You know, like, oh, you don't like trans people here, or you shut them down, whatever the thing is, right? Oh, they're not Trump supporters. We got to get rid of them, right? So that's what we were usually scrambling over in the past, because we've seen Discord servers just poof, go away, right? And we were
along with
always
the
amazed.
PayPal accounts, right, Roy?
Yes.
Ice
Yeah,
Age
and
Farmer was
we
kicked
see
off
this
of
happen.
Discord. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm like, so now it's like when we like, okay, so Discord wants to force everybody to do their biometric ID or prove that they're of a certain age. Now everybody got all pissed off and in a huff, and we're like, well, shoot, we're going to have to build something for everybody because everybody wants to leave. And we kind of feel betrayed too, and we want to leave. But, you know, it's like, I don't feel like it's them trying to, they're trying to trick us into leaving ourselves. So I don't know how I feel about this, because technically none of the options or the things that are available out there can be trusted, because they all do this. They all come out and say, oh, we're different. We're better. It's like a politician that, it's like, I can't trust any of these platforms, Hesher. So ultimately, you know, it would be best if we could just build something ourselves in-house, but then like the resources and the time and the money to do that is literally impossible. So
Ruckus,
you know.
how many RAM chips do we need to host our own server like this? What do those cost, Roy? I mean, my goodness.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Can we even add them to cart? Like, let's say we had a dream donor come in right now and say, hey, you guys need 128 gigs of next gen RAM. Here's $2,400. Like, let's just say we had that person watching tonight. Dude, we wouldn't even be able to add that shit to cart. It's gone. It's not there. Like, the best we could do is ask you for 3 times that amount and buy 3 Apple machines and throw them in the closet and put our LLM on it and our our Discord analog, whatever. Obviously we'd pick something that's blockchain oriented. And for those of you that are technically minded, that's all we got left. Like if you want to fall, like if we were to get deplatformed, if we were to get de-indexed, the only people that own the podcast index are Apple and Google. So think about how easy it would be to get deplatformed from those or visibility filtered from those. We would, that would be our best bet in the future
And
that we're
I'll
seeing.
remind everybody, 20 years ago, nobody knew what a podcast was.
Yeah. 10 years ago, most people didn't. And here we are. Joe Rogan's making $120 bazillion a year on Spotify for podcasts. And on Netflix now, there's a whole podcast section. Can you believe that? I think that's noteworthy. I think that when nowadays you go to Netflix and you go, down through enough of the, watched recently because you like this, whatever, there's now a thing that says podcasts, and you can find probably some of the very podcasts we were clowning on tonight. You can find Barack Obama on, some Jagoff's podcast. And it's got 5 producers, a dozen line producers, 3 writers, 5 lawyers, 2 social media people, and all that.
I mean,
here's
it's
the 3 of us trying to keep up with that, man.
I mean, it's the new media. I read, what was it, the Oscars or something? Which since forever the license was had by one of the TV stations, CBS or something. And then this year was the first year where no more, it was going to YouTube, and so that's just kind of like they knew this day would come. People don't have TVs like we used to when we were kids in the home anymore. It's just they stream on YouTube, and so just is the changing of the guard. The new boss is the same as the old boss, except for us.
We could explain to our kids and our grandkids how we were able to magically pull radio and television signals out of the air using 2 wires. Like it must sound like magic to them.
Yeah, some kind of wizardry, some sort of Tolkien sorcery. Like, when it didn't work, you just go up to it and you twist these rods, these metal rods around, and then you slap it a couple of times, turn it off, turn it back on, call it a bad name. Next thing you know, you're watching ABC News.
And it was not a subscription as a service until cable TV came into the picture.
Yeah.
Well, unless you live in England, right? You got to pay the license.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big shouts out to our friends across the pond there. Yeah, that's scary. I mean, but it's really like you think about it, and you're like, oh, that's egregious. That's so awful. You have to pay to be propagandized to? Come on, let's be real here. We got a subscription to Netflix.
You have to pay
all
whether
these
or not
different things. That's
you watch
exactly
the
what's
damn
happening.
thing.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah. All right. So Discord, that was the original thing there that came out, and that didn't go well. And then there was just a flood of other, Discord commentary coming out, like this one from Hedgy Markets. A service called SpyPet has been scraping Discord. For those of you that don't know, scraping means basically they have search agents and AI tools in there harvesting data. Okay, big data about the users. They claim to have data on 600 million users and 3 billion messages. Anyone can look up a specific user's activity across servers for about 10 cents in crypto. That's right. 10 cents. The data is being sold to law enforcement and to companies training AI models. Meanwhile, Discord just announced that starting next month, users will need to do a face scan or government ID for full access. And then Hedgy Markets goes on to give their take there. But a lot going on with this. I'm going to flash through it real quick, and I'll get you guys comments. Discord users, this is another one over at Bitdefender. Bitdefender is, by the way, the chosen antivirus of alternate current radio. That's not an advertisement. It's just a fact of life. It's what Spore and I choose to use. Anyway, Discord users' data stolen by hackers in third-party data breach. This article is from 3 or 4 months ago by Graham Cluley over at Bitdefender. Discord has confirmed that users who contacted its customer support service have had their data stolen by hackers who have attempted to extort a ransom from the company. I bring that one up because it shows, it illustrates a very big privacy and security hole in software as a service, generally speaking, with a specific incident. And now we've got Discord themselves responding to the backlash. We've seen questions about our age assurance update, and we want to share more clarity. We know how important these changes are to our community. Here's what we want you to know. And then they go on to sort of softball pitch you why you should not worry that you have to show a government ID or do a face scan to prove you're not a child. And then, of course, as the final piece of the puzzle here, and this dovetails with what we were talking about earlier with the consolidation of media. This is from James A. Freeman on X. Discord gets a new CEO, starts requiring your biometric data. The CEO is literally from Israel. You can't make this up.
He's Russian? I don't believe it.
I think you misheard the way I pronounced the name of the country, Mr. Ruckus. Humam Sakhnini is the name here.
Sounds Russian to me, dude.
Yeah, very Russian, right? Looks Russian too. Let's see what the first response is. Oh my God, no, don't. I'm not the messenger, folks. I'm not even the messenger. I'm simply scrolling. I'm simply doom scrolling. You're only seeing what the top comment is there. It's the old shut it down for those of you listening on audio. But yeah, that's the deal with Discord, Roy. I'm a member of a number of 2A forums on Discord. I'm a member of a number of technical forums on Discord. I have our own ACR Discord that Ruckus and many others have worked very hard on to include all our viewers and listeners. And I don't know, man, I feel bad about this whole thing because Discord has really become sort of our knowledge management repository and collaboration suite here at Alternate Current Radio. And I would be very disappointed to see it go away, but I understand. So I think the final message from me here, and then I'll go to you guys, is that here at Alternate Current Radio, we found Discord when we really needed it. We found Discord when we were suffering the worst shadow banning and the worst censorship you could possibly imagine between 2017 and 2021 for various things like our reportage on the Syrian situation, Middle Eastern politics, propaganda busting, the white helmets, and then going into the COVID 1984 era, as our colleague Hervoy Mark has coined it here on his show Geopolitics and Empire, and the Hervoy Mark show formerly on TNT. So it's frustrating. It's very frustrating to see these same tactics being thrown out again and again and again to just nudge us closer to that, those numerological important dates, whatever those may be, whether they're 2021, 2030, whatever.
I like the comment that says, I didn't realize what Discord was until I got married.
Yeah.
But to your point, no, like that story, like in October, a whole bunch of people got hacked. Even Substack got hacked. I got an email just the other week where they said it happened in October for Substack. The timing interesting, as well as for Discord. And again, the situation here in Mexico with the biometric registries and now with Discord, if they were hacked previously, like you got to have Stockholm syndrome. Like, how am I going to now? They were already hacked, and now you want me to give you my biometrics and government ID? You're going to get hacked again. And here in Mexico, the people who registered their mobiles, their data all got hacked. Like every Mexican institution is getting everyone's data hacked nonstop. And so, yeah, I don't know what to do. I just this week I ordered another phone. So I'm going to try Lineage and Calyx OS. Installing that version of degoogling my phone. But yeah, it's how do we avoid? And I listened to Gamers Nexus, and they suggested, was it a Stoat, Mumble, I think, and Matrix as alternatives.
Yep.
So, and I have no idea how any of that works. I was looking eventually on my website to get purchase. Maybe there are some third party companies out there that do like forums, like old school chat. Forums,
Web enabled, like threaded comments and chat forums and stuff.
So
right.
yeah.
Well, the end result of all this is displayed nicely here on this article over at windowscentral.com. Discord alternative searches jump 10,000% overnight as the gaming platform introduces global age verification. Is a total collapse imminent? Discord, are you paying attention? New CEO, do you care? Obviously not. We have a comment from Discord official X sort of downplaying this. I don't think it's really worth reading at this point. I'll link it on the show page. You can read it if you're interested.
Gamers Nexus said he made the point that Discord isn't something special. Like in all of the history of the internet, we've seen so many of these types of softwares come and go.
It's true.
And so to your point, like this isn't anything special. So if they keep pushing, they might end up not succeeding. But I'm wondering, like with all, like Amazon as an example, which I think was a DARPA project, like all this stuff, Bezos's grandfather was DARPA, come on. And when I don't know if they're still bleeding money, but like for a long time they were losing money. But they just keep going because their goal is to knock out all the competition, so they become the world general store, like Gillette dreamed about a century ago, the General One World Corporation, and they have access to some fun, like the money, the alchemical money printer, so they can keep bleeding money because someone in some shadowy back room keeps them alive, So I don't.
Some shadowy boiler room, perhaps, some star chamber. These meetings are happening. Like, why is it that Microsoft, particularly with their Xbox platform, are able to stay afloat for decades without turning a profit? How is it that a new CEO from another country can come in and take over TikTok, take over Discord, and do something that damages that company? That just goes to show how important the narrative is, the fake narrative. That just goes to show how important it is to be able to have psychopaths tricking normies into thinking that schizos are the worst problem in their life. I mean, to go back to our intermission right there, it's perfect. This is the perfect scheme.
And they're not the only ones. Same story with this guy, Sam Altman. Back in 2015, OpenAI, $0. 2025, 0,000,000.
Yeah.
You get the idea. So it's it's still zero, but it's got more commas in it, right?
Like that may work for alternate current radio. That might work for geopolitics and empire, right? For us to put everything into something and still have a big fucking goose egg at the end of, a decade later. But we're not driving around in Bugattis. We're not hiring people to build 8 copter drones to fly us around, or military helmets to sell to the United States government, or to sell to Raytheon, or sell to Boeing or Lockheed and shit like that. Like, how do you do that? Someone riddle me this. How do you do that with your business and your ideas and be rated as a billionaire in this country?
Maybe they get help from some friends, like
like foreign
Uncle
donors
Sam.
and shit, like passing your CEO position around to various technocrats and various people from other countries.
What we learned in the Epstein files, who some of the early investors in companies like Palantir may or may not have been, well, including former prime ministers of Israel, the Russian people.
Look at this. Look at this. Calling Larry. What's up? If you can get zero interest business loans, all business ideas are good ideas. And the game is knock out the competitor. And then follows up with, you can always outspend your competitor if you have zero interest. How they end up being heads of everything. That's exactly right, Larry. Thank you.
And from my understanding, so this is mercantilism, and a great author. I highly recommend Dr. Martin Erdmann, and he's got a new book out. Yeah.
I will leave that for the viewers.
But if you type in his name, Martin Erdmann, he just published a new book called like Greed and Glory, something to that extent, all about neo-mercantilism. And I had on, it's been almost a year, Michael Avery, who's like a top financial guy, and he's been talking about this. But in mercantilism, that's how all the empires, the age of empires, or British, Spanish Empire, Dutch, and all that, they applied mercantilism, and that's what they're bringing back now with Trump and all the other great powers, and that means world domination. So mercantilism means world domination.
It's
and
empire. It's like it's like pedestrian speak for empire building. And what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's basically Age of Empires, the video game.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I love. But it's but yeah, and so that's what this comment just made, and I think that's what we're towards the final stages. I think they physically almost pretty much control the planet, and so all that's left is the the digital infrastructure, corporate infrastructure, and where they're placing us human cattle now, on which farm we're going to
weapons of mass migration, right?
Yeah, that's it. So
how does Rory? How does the technocracy fit into your neo-mercantilism?
Well, I mean, like I said, they're the final stages, so they just need to outline the farm boundaries, right? So North American tech, they got the European Union, they got the African, and so they're gonna now
Technates, right?
The North American Technate, and then I think we're gonna have to watch the outcome, because these are elite factions beneath the global, so there is still infighting. I mean, if you go around wealthy people, they're greedy, narcissistic people. But the Eurasian Union for me is interesting how that's going to play out, because I think it's depending on Ukraine, because I follow Sergei Glaziev's Telegram, and he's always talking about the Union State, which is Belarus and Russia, and so he said they want to include Ukraine. And so I think those factions are fighting out who's going to get Ukraine for which EU, right? European Union or Eurasian Union. So they're fighting for which EU is going to get Ukraine. And then once that is settled, I think we'll start seeing more news about Eurasian Union integration and which countries will fall in there. Because if you think about it, they're just gangs. I think Putin will probably get the shorter end of the stick. So I don't think the Eurasian, I don't know, we'll see. But
yeah. Exactly, man. It's going to be really interesting to watch how this all goes down. And right now, like I said, it's like there's a bow being put on every single conspiracy theory you can possibly think of, and they're coming like more rapidly. This Epstein dump is a perfect example of it. So it's just like, let's just put this behind us. Let's put a bow on it. Here's a bunch of stuff you guys are mad about. Here's the best we can do with it. Here's some congressional hearings about it. We're moving on to, Project Bluebeam. We're moving on to Obama being butthurt that he's not the one that got to do alien disclosure and all this bullshit.
And if you're upset about it, don't forget the Dow is up. So
the Dow, 50 Dow.
But in many ways, it doesn't matter anymore, because it's Huxley's Brave New World.
Yeah,
people don't care. They're on real cocaine or prescription drugs or digital cocaine, and then even when you go to search for these conspiracies, you get very little information.
Yeah.
So it's like there will be no way for accountability. It's just like, what are you going to do about it? So
Right. All right, you guys, we're 3 hours into this. Let's
Can I get your quick takes about the Ring camera thing?
Okay, yeah. So the Ring camera was a big deal at the sports ball event, the hockey event, whatever that was that happened last weekend, right?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. So what were they saying about Ring cameras? It was something to do with your pets, right? Like I've got pets that need watching. I might want one of these. What, right?
It's we've been talking about Palantir, and of course the name Palantir is related to the Lord of the Rings, right? And the Palantiri. Well, I guess we forgot the elephant in the room because as the Lord of the Rings taught us, there's one ring to rule them all, and Ring happens to be the name of the doorbell camera that is widely used in the United States of America, probably elsewhere around the world.
How dare you? I hadn't thought of that.
Yep, but it's made by Amazon, of course, and we've been dancing around the Amazon. Amazon, pretty big company, pretty big dude, Jeff Bezos. He's pretty bald. Maybe you should wear a beanie like Tim Pool. Anyways, but they aired a Super Bowl ad that went absolutely mega viral because it woke some people up, and I think they weren't expecting this. It's being described as creepy. It's being described as dystopic. The video itself is kind of creepy, but it's all premised around, hey, how awesome it is that we now, thanks to technology, thanks to these Ring doorbell cameras and Amazon Sidewalk, we can help you locate your lost loved one, meaning your four-legged friend. So it's all about finding your lost pets because your pets are chipped or they're wearing these tags or they're passing by all these Wi-Fi spots. They're going in front of people's cameras, which is constantly collecting data, which we learned thanks to the Nancy Guthrie, the mother of the Savannah Guthrie lady. The Ring doorbell camera caught some footage and the police wanted their hands on it, and Amazon told them, well, we don't have that stuff for you, sir or madam, because the person doesn't pay for that subscription. It's impossible. It just doesn't exist. Well, turns out it does exist. So yes, these Ring cameras that we've installed on our homes, we, the consumers, have willingly not only did we install the surveillance technocracy device on our home, we pay for it. We bought it and we pay for it every month. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. So people, when they saw what this system was doing for the pets, they started thinking, oh my gosh, what about my privacy as a human? Can they do this to track what I'm doing? And now you're worried about that, people? It took a Super Bowl ad? So, I'm absolutely flabbergasted that it's taken this long for people to wake up to the technocracy. It's like, knock, knock, it's on your door, and you installed all the things. We let the people in to our homes to put up the little listening devices, install cameras inside of our coffee maker, inside of our refrigerators, our laundry machines. Why? For safety, so we can press a button and order more Tide Pods that we can chew on for TikTok viral videos. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely shocking. And I'm just happy that people are waking up to it. But I'm afraid it's a little too late, people. That's all I have to say about it.
Definitely late in the game here, but hey, that's the name of the game. So welcome aboard. All right. Yeah, it's so much more we could go through tonight, but I want to let you guys go. Yeah, thanks everybody for all the links. I've been getting a lot of links from the Discord. Yes, it's a big question mark right now. But it is one of the places we hang out. So thanks everybody for the links. Been getting links on Signal and in the various like YouTube and X and Rumble chats. Really appreciate everybody. Roy, I go to you first. Give some shout outs where people can find you, how to find all your wonderful episodes, which I am proud to be involved in now.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to one of the commentators, Blex, who got his panties in a bunch because I didn't express my Valentine's Day love for Putin. So yeah, shout out to Blex. And people can find me over at geopolitics and empire.com.
All right. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for being here tonight, Havore. Thanks for you came in with very little notice tonight. Really appreciate you being here, man. We'll look forward to having you back again real soon.
Love you, dude. God bless.
Yep. There he goes. Geopolitics and Empire. You definitely want to get subscribed. Make sure you're over there and all that. Ruckus, over to you. Saved rounds. Final thoughts. Here we go.
No, I just wanted to make sure that I got my licks in about the Ring camera. It's just like, it's so silly that, you know, journalists, people do the work. I mean, how long have we been reporting about this stuff? How long ago did we investigate that Whitney Webb article and went into depth, like multiple episodes of Boiler Room just to cover this topic? And yet, you know, all of that hard work and all it takes is like a 30-second Super Bowl ad, and now people get it. It's just... I'm so frustrated, Hesher. I'm just so frustrated. But anyways, but yeah, that's where we are. So, you know, here at the Boiler Room and my own work personally, I will be continuing to track this stuff and do everything in my power to shake people and wake them up and say, no, not only do we not want this, but stop. Don't buy it and put it in your house intentionally. You stupid fools. What are you doing? But again, it's probably already too late because here we are. Using AI and pretty soon robots. So hold on to your butts, everybody. I said it on Sunday Wire. I'll say it again here. I'll remind everyone the wise words of one Bill Cooper. Read everything. Listen to everybody. Don't you believe anything unless you prove it for yourself using your own research. Thanks for having me. Ruckus out.
All right. Thanks, Ruckus. And thank you for hanging with us tonight. If you've been out there tonight for the whole show or part of the show, we sure appreciate your attention and your comments and all that good stuff. Even the opposition researchers out there, thank you for being here. And to those of you that have been with us for a decade or more, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see you out there in the chats as we do our thing. And remember, the future rarely announces itself. It seeps in, like I said, through convenience, through spectacle, through tools we can't imagine living without. Technocracy doesn't need a coup. It just needs adoption. Just adopt me. Tonight, we watch the signals from AI labs, from media mergers, from surveillance culture, from robotics, from the shifting architecture of the internet itself. Not as isolated stories, again, but as part of a system rising into place. Do you see it? This image was created with AI. It's not as isolated stories, but as part of a system rising into place. The ascension isn't theoretical, it's operational. And the only real question left is whether humanity shapes the system or the system shapes humanity. Good night from the Boiler Room.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.